Mike, can you hear us? We can't hear you or see you.
Oh, we can smell you. You really need to take that shower.
You already did.
Oh,
An
yeah.
odd soap to choose.
Yeah, I figured out
Oh,
sometimes that I got a button here for hiding and revealing Fog of War. Sometimes for some reason it'll vanish on me, so I'll have to reset the entire page to get it to reappear. So if that ever happens, I'll have to disappear for a few seconds. Just to let you know.
That's
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Cool.
So, when we last left, you guys ready to start?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We last left our group of intrepid adventurers. You had...
I wouldn't call us intrepid.
When we last left our group of those desperately trying to survive.
Of those wondering why we're still here. Got
it. Yeah, you're the only one of the original group left, aren't you? Everybody else has cut and run.
Sort of.
Yeah, so when we, in our last group, you guys did some shopping. You sold a giant pole of arcane iron. You left the smaller cart back at home. You went on the road. However, it was on the road you realized you still had that cursed vase with you, which you realized when when one of the cultists appeared with a demon to try and take it back. You defeated the demon, which melted into a pile of goo. Defeated the cultist, who turned into
a corpse.
A corpse. Well,
desiccated corpse.
Desiccated corpse. And yep, that's where we last left off. You're near the evening. You were heading towards this dot here. You're about where the square is, give or take. You're about... Meow, George, meow. It's getting close to night. You got about... do you guys want to travel through the night? Do you want to set up camp? You're about an hour out from your last encounter. You're outside of your... At this point, you'd be... Yeah, you had the encounter just as you're coming out of the Elvin shortcut. So you're on a
good idea.
On a main road right now.
Do we think there is a town nearby?
You do know that this dot... somewhere near this dot is a town, you believe. An Elvin... you're not entirely sure what it is, but you know it's a town.
But that's practically a day away.
Half a day, yeah.
Sorry, I pinged it.
We should probably just camp.
I concur.
I think so too.
All right.
Now we just need to manage to have one of us stay awake for a night.
3 shifts, 4 hours.
I mean, I have dark vision, so I can take the dark watch.
By the way, I was actually looking on that. Apparently, dark vision doesn't let you see in the dark. It increases the light by 1 level. So it goes from darkness to dim light, and dim light to bright light. So if you don't have a source of light, you'll be considered in dim light, so you'd have disadvantage at perception checks. If you don't have a source of light.
So we should have a bonfire, is what you're saying.
Or a torch or something.
Yeah. Well, just what I was saying. Just keep that in mind, because, like I was saying, a lot of people don't realize that.
However, we must keep in mind that fires in the night tend to draw attention.
Mm-hmm.
Fires in the night can be seen further than they can allow you to see.
So what you're saying is we need the druid to start taming a pet horde of fireflies to follow us around.
Horde of fireflies.
Well, there is a spell called Summon
Or just-
Swarm.
Or just use my hooded lantern.
Yes, we have
That's an option.
light sources, but
Someone is prepared.
We could deal with the dim light, I suppose.
how full is the moon? Or are we too deep in the woods?
You're out of the woods. You're in the planar area now.
The moon is still just dim light though.
There
Or
are
is it full bright moon.
designated sort of resting areas, sort of like mini camp spots along the roads that people have just sort of set up over time and just have used repeatedly. If you want to try and find one of those, they might have a hooded spot. They might have a structure there that would help block the light if you do want to set up a campfire.
I think that's a good idea. We should look for one of those.
Probably a good idea.
Okay, I will fail my perception check.
I get the damn screen.
I got a 13, so I'm gonna fail mine too.
Car got a 17.
I got a 22.
Kira got a 22.
What?
I keep forgetting that I'm muted. Perception. Well, isn't that unfortunate?
Good. Too bad you don't have advantage.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. I would like to have advantage.
Yeah, as you're traveling along, you decide to travel a little further. You do find just a general camping spot. It looks to be like an old it's an old probably trading post or something like that. Something that was run down, burned down a long time ago. It's more of just the outer shell of the building with half a wall missing, with no roof, just sort of an outer shell that you could easily pull up to and go inside and set up camp for the night. That would keep you keep you well protected and make it much harder for any creatures to track your light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Yes.
All right, you guys gonna set up watch?
Sure.
I'll take first watch.
I'll take the
it with
morning.
All right.
I thought you could see in the dark, so you usually took the
Fine,
middle.
I'll take the middle. I'll take the middle.
It's up to
Is
you.
the,
I'm not picky.
I'll
Is the
take
inside of
the
the
middle.
Is the inside of the
Oh, God, that's
structure
too
large
dark.
enough for me to open up the forge ring?
What was that?
Is the inside of the structure large enough for me to open up the forge ring?
Yeah, it would take up. Let's see if I remember. Was it a 10-foot or 15-foot rate diameter?
You never really sent me the info on it, so
We never really saw the size, but given you're saying it's a forge with a cabinet, I'm thinking it's actually closer to 20 by 20.
20 by 20. Okay.
it's pretty big.
Let's see. You would be able to fit it inside there, but you wouldn't have much space for setting up
Anybody.
beds. Yeah. You still would be
Okay,
able
then
to, but you'd all have to be kind of cramped up in one corner. Like I
Can
said,
we-
it's a
I won't open it
it's
up.
a.
Can we not put our bedrolls inside the forge?
Well, you technically could.
Well, I mean, why not?
You technically could, but there's Lots of
Why
equipment,
would
an
we
entire
open the forge
forge.
inside instead of outside?
Yeah, why don't we sleep in the forge? What's stopping us?
Because we can't open it from inside?
No, I don't mean like while it's closed. I mean while it's open, so that we don't have to cram into a corner.
Because the Minotaur might like to work, which is why I'm guessing he was going to open it.
Oh,
Well, I wasn't gonna
fine.
use the most of the forge. I was just gonna use it as like a table, but I guess I really don't need to open it. I could just use floor.
And you missed our brief discussion of not really wanting to store the vase in it because of the spare body parts we don't want it to munch on.
What spare body parts are in the forge? I don't remember.
The drakes.
There's like half a drake in it.
Oh, okay, the drink is what's in there.
Look. We took it to go. Okay.
Just
Mike,
what
do
we
you have
need,
the
zappy demons and undead.
Mike? Do you have the forge on your inventory sheet?
I have the forge ring on my inventory sheet.
That counts.
That's close
The
enough.
Drake parts are in the party inventory sheet. Just so you know.
Like the spinal cord, the electric gland, and the skull, or other drake parts.
We've got a Drake electric gland, a large Drake skin, Drake bones and teeth worth 75 gold pieces.
Okay, I've got pieces other than that I took for crafting purposes.
Okay.
That would be just part of the random pieces. 75 gold.
If properly preserved.
They're in the forge ring, so yeah, they're properly preserved.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the forge ring also has enough mithril to either form a chainmail armor, one medium weapon and one small weapon, or one large weapon.
Or I could use it for a whole bunch of flair.
Or a whole bunch of mithril-studded leather.
Well, that's
Not
just.
that I think that helps very much.
It doesn't.
But it's shiny.
Because I'm shiny. Don't get me started. All right. So who's taking which watch?
I'm with Kira on middle watch.
All right. Your third watch. So I guess that means Damien's on first.
Yep.
Who's
He
on
has
first?
volunteered.
Say what?
You're on first watch.
Oh.
I don't know what
no.
the bright idea is of putting our new party member on first so he can rob us blind and then run away before he
You know
wakes
what?
us up.
You know what? I saved his life.
My
Not that he
legs-
would be in danger,
doesn't
but
mean
My
everybody's
legs wouldn't be able to
sleeping.
carry me very far.
yeah, he's got
Unfortunately,
little legs.
there's no point in robbing you.
Well, you just have to roll us all into the forge, close up the ring, and then wander off. And
I never opened it. So
You know, I didn't think of that.
Way to give the newbie ideas, Josh.
I am all full of bad ideas. You should know this by now.
I do know this.
we are quite aware.
But
I've
I
got my
suppose
little
I'll
buddy though.
I'll
But I
take
think he's
first
a much
watch.
better person than that, so I think he wouldn't be doing that anyway.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, Abacus strikes me as isn't Abacus the only
Non-chaotic
good line?
neutral. Everybody else is chaotic neutral. He's good.
He's the only good aligned
He's good
character?
aligned.
I believe I'm.
But it makes
yeah,
sense.
I'm neutral good.
But that does make sense
Yeah.
that you guys would suspect him of stealing from you just because.
She,
True.
her,
But we have to give him the opportunity so that we can smack him down if he does.
This
She-
is a test.
Dangle
I will
those.
hunt you down, Abacus, if you steal my shit.
You get
I'll
it.
beat
What you
you.
do is you get him to steal your stuff, then you hunt him down and catch him, and then he's now indentured to you guys.
She is. She.
She is.
Abacus is a female gnome. Just like me. We're best friends now.
Are you guys both forest gnomes?
Right up until you're chasing
We
your
are actually forest gnomes, yes.
We are both
the
forest
royal gnome.
gnomes.
Right up until you're chasing the gnome prince.
No, remember I've got that elf friend.
Yeah, but to her, you're just a job.
You know what? That's okay with me. I wrote her name down. Let me look.
It's all right. She's just a status symbol.
You probably know more of the characters' names than I remember. So.
I
I
fucking write everything down.
stop it.
Okay.
Her name was Emerald, if you care.
Well, that's the name she gave you.
Okay, that is very true.
All right, Bakar and Kira, go ahead and roll a perception. Yeah, roll a perception.
Can I just
Got
use the roll I
a
did a little bit ago?
15.
15.
Oh my
It
god.
needs the /R, not the R/.
You know, I know this.
So
I do know
close.
this. Third time tries the charm, right?
All
Third
right.
time. Where's the
13. You said you got 15.
Correct.
All right.
It's a bad moon on the rise.
I was just gonna
So
say
we
something.
don't see whatever's about to kill us.
Actually,
Ooh, we do.
you are busy doing. Did you open
Attack
up
of the fruit snacks?
Did you open up the forge? The forge. Are you doing anything on there?
No, I'm just sitting on the ground. I've got just enough to do that I don't need a table.
What are you doing?
Currently I think I'm scraping the guck off of drake skin.
Do you want help?
I don't think you can.
Well, it's been about 4 days since you got this drake skin, so it should be in the tanning phase.
Let me
Well,
double
he
check
hasn't
that.
actively had it out in the open the whole time.
Every time I rest, I've been putting a couple hours into it.
Oh, okay.
Nope. Step
So
4 is scouring hairs and softening, so scraping the guck off of reptile skin.
Have fun with that.
So as you are, we will just for the sake of it switch over to this map. I'll say right over here is where the building's at.
The place we're staying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just imagine there's a building set up here.
Sure.
As you're sitting there, I'll say you're sort of sitting out front, Bakar, scraping your skin. Bow chicka wow wow.
All right.
You see, actually, you hear it at first. You hear some chanting coming from. Let's see if I can find a good icon. Dozens of icons, not the ones I want though.
Why can you never find a stick figure icon when you want one?
All right, this isn't what you're seeing, but just gonna use this icon.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Snap to grid.
You see, off to your left, you hear some chanting, and as you look over in that direction, you see a group of about 8 hooded figures slowly walking down the road, heading towards your direction. They're walking 2 by 2.
Is it a parade?
They're walking 2 by 2, and you see these front 2 appear to be carrying torches, and two of the ones in the middle are swinging incense as they walk.
It's a monk pilgrimage that's about to be killed as cultists.
You don't know that. You're asleep. Shh.
And I'm busy playing with core, so
Yeah.
I don't notice anything.
Actually, hold on.
And George is probably being silly.
And Manbreaker's snacking on whatever I gave for dinner.
Okay. That was meaningless. Yeah. Actually, Damien, your character, as you curl up to go to sleep at the end of your shift, you feel something large and fuzzy curl up behind you as the teenage displacer beast decides to curl up next to you to keep warm.
Aw, George likes you.
He gives you a couple sniffs, sort of pat you a couple times with his half-grown tentacles. Meow. And just lays down.
I'll tolerate this.
Be glad he wasn't
You
in a
like it,
kneading
you
mood.
know it.
He's probably about the same size as you at this point.
Okay. I suppose because I'm, force gnome. Yeah.
You like animals of
This is
all
a-
sorts.
Yeah, this
Even
is
the
I.
spiders.
What was that?
You like animals of all sorts, even the spiders.
Oh, about that.
Let's not go that far.
Yeah.
All right.
Not quite those, but yeah, most animals.
So yeah, what do
Okay,
you do? You
so-
see those guys?
I'm gonna gently nudge May and tell her to be ready to wake everybody. And then I'm gonna sit right in the doorway and just keep an eye on them.
All right. They continue to approach. They seem to be moving at a pretty leisurely pace. The two up front get closer, and you get close enough to see you within the light, they sort of stop. They stop, causing the ones behind them to bump into them. And there's a hesitant for a moment as they chat amongst themselves as they see this giant minotaur standing in front of a building. Do you have your weapons out or anything?
They are not out. And
Okay.
upon seeing that, I'm going to raise one hand and bow my head and say,
Can I
no threat to
like
you.
poke my head around beside Bakar and just wave?
Yeah. You're not sure if they see you or not. They seem to be more focused on the giant minotaur barbarian in front of you. There's a moment of discussion. One of them steps forward, raises his hand. Hail, mighty beast! We mean you no harm. We are merely monks of the moon goddess on pilgrimage through these lands. He's actually, now that they're closer, you can see they actually appear to be they appear to all be Elvin, save for one or two half elves, maybe.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take a step forward and say, I don't know much about the moon goddess, but she's no enemy of mine, and neither are any of you.
That's good to hear. We were hoping to use this rest point for tonight's travels. We had originally planned on traveling all night, but I'm afraid we got lost earlier today and just recently found our way back to the path. Would it
Do you want to join us for the night?
Trap.
at that point he sees you. Oh, so you have
Hold
friends.
Hi.
Hello, my lady. Yes.
Come rest by our fire. Wait, we don't have a fire.
Trap.
Oh, I thought you guys
Hold
did start a
Did we
fire.
light a fire?
Hmm?
Did
Inside.
we light a fire?
Inside.
Well, you guys would have had a fire. At this point, it would either gone out or it'd be in
Embers.
embers, depending on how
It's
much you
probably
wanted to feed it.
lit. It's probably just low.
Yeah, it's a low fire at this point.
I'm
Just
gonna
enough to make light.
I'm gonna place my hand on May's back and go. They can rest outside
Oh,
and use the walls as shelter, but they're not coming inside.
oh.
Very well, if that's...
But they're peaceful monks. They're just tired.
Still strangers, May. Still strangers.
Well, you were a stranger once too,
Yep.
and I was a stranger,
Yep.
and now we're
Invading
like
them.
best friends.
Wow.
What if they're our next best friends?
I've come to realize that you guys have a stranger sleeping with you.
Yeah. What about
Yep.
Abacus? We don't know Abacus very well, and she's in here with us.
Plus you have a
I
dire
could
wolf.
literally eat Abacus.
Or not a dire wolf, a warg.
Warg.
Yeah, we've got
I could eat
George, and we have
Abacus.
Abacus is a spare snack for Maneater.
No, hold on.
Menchie! Anybody get that reference?
No.
There's a series called Excel Saga where the main character has a pet dog / emergency food supply named Menchie, which Menchie is literally is an Asian food made from dogs.
Oh, that's sad.
And that's the running joke throughout the entire series. Anytime she gets hungry, she's debating on whether to eat the dog.
That's pretty hilarious.
I'll offer to keep an eye on them while they're by the shelter.
All right,
They can rest for a bit.
Can I at least make a campfire for them? Can I cast bonfire out there for them?
Oh yeah, you can go out and help them gather up some. They'll actually set it up right over here on the edge of the house.
I'll light their fire for them.
Yeah, help them out. You light the fire for them. They're grateful. Yeah, so they tell you some. You guys talk back and forth. They tell you some of their stories of their travels. Like I said, they're just preachers. They say they're preachers of the. I can't remember the goddess's name, but basically the moon goddess. They usually.
I want to say
Siloon.
Hyloon. Luna. Siloon. Siloon. They usually travel at night rather than by day, but since they got lost, they ended up spending more energy than expected, so they're resting. So they wanted to rest up. Yeah, that's about it. Anything you want to tell them or anything?
I tell them that my goddess is Bear Von Wild Wanderer.
Your what?
My goddess is Bear Von Wild Wanderer. She's a gnome goddess. She's in charge of like nature and stuff like that.
And I pray to Baal.
One or both?
What?
God of War, Baal.
I'm pretty sure he's a demon, isn't he?
Shush.
Okay.
They sort of, they kind of exchange some glances at that one, but they don't say anything. Like, not the brightest one, is he?
Hey, he looks like a minotaur. He smashes things.
All right, so yep. Time passes. They set up the camp. They thank you. They don't actually go to sleep. They're more setting up meditating rituals and stuff like that. They're taking some sharing of the breaking of the bread kind of stuff. Your time passes. Drakkar, you wake up and you hear chatting outside. You get up, look outside, and you see a group of 8 robed figures sitting around a fire outside with the gnomes sitting out there chatting with them.
Yes, but their robes aren't pulled up like cultists.
No.
Because it's not raining. So that's not the same robed as what I'm worried about.
No. And yes, your knowledge of religion, you would be able to confirm between their symbols and their attire that they are moon.
They don't have a tooth with a tongue.
No, as far as you can tell. At least not one visible.
Yeah. And the other cultists we saw, had it like front and center.
Mm-hmm. At any rate, I'd wake up, come out and say, you could have woke me up from my shift.
Oh, is it that time already?
Hello, guys.
Greetings, good sir.
I see we have company.
Would you care to join us? Would you care to join us and break bread?
They worship the moon.
They worship Siloon, the moon
More power
goddess.
to them.
Yeah, I haven't exactly set up the gods and goddesses. Oh, one thing you know with the gods and goddesses, I can't remember if I established this before or not, but the Age of Rifts had begun 200 years ago. 100 years before that, so 300 years ago, the gods and goddesses have seemingly vanished from the world. Nobody has, as far as you're aware, nobody has had direct contact with them in over 300 years. Nobody knows entirely why. Clerics can still use their magic. There are a few high-level casters out there that have claimed that they have encountered avatars of their gods, but they're not entirely. But nobody's been able to confirm it. So you guys are able to use your magic. You're able to sense the presence, but you've never been able to actually do what you. Yeah. And basically, these monks are saying that part of their pilgrimage is to try and. It's been a pilgrimage that's been going for 300 years, basically to try and find out why the gods have vanished.
I hear ya. I wish I could talk to Bear Von.
At which point,
oh, we lost somebody.
I sit down, bring out a little meal. I follow the winds of the storm.
Yeah, he does lightning shit.
I thought they had lightning breath, one of them says. Dang it, Carl! Damn it, Carl, shut up! Quiet, Carl.
Not as fun as playing with lightning rods, but...
Is that what they call it? Quiet, Bill. Damn you, cheap budget internet connection.
Pretty sure he's using his hotspot.
It's alright, it doesn't use up much data. And no hotspot commentary from you.
You know, that meant something completely different 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like I've been talking on and off this whole
Have
conversation.
you been able to hear?
Yeah.
Oh boy. We've just been ignoring you then.
Isn't it just how it is? You're so used to being ignored in real life that when your mic is muted on the online and nobody's responding, you don't notice. All right. So
we all
anyway,
have moments, but yes, I will be sociable with the elves and otherwise try and engage them in local news and rumors.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna go get some sleep.
I'm gonna drool on my gnome.
May has a weird dream that she's drowning. And actually, we'll roll one thing.
Am I supposed to roll insight to see how misled we are being by the monks?
We're not misled at all.
You can roll. You can roll insight if you wanna. If you want to be able to tell.
Yeah, he did shitty.
Yeah.
11.
As far as you can tell, they are straight and narrow.
As far as you can tell, they appear to be telling the truth.
Whatever. I'm not testing them that hard.
And that's why they're outside.
Damien, or not Damien, Drakar, go ahead and roll a perception check.
Oh boy. How many encounters are we getting?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yep, you actually see it. You actually see it as you're sitting there talking to them in the middle of the night. You see Manbreaker coming out of the building, looking around, and then taking off
Oh, he left
With or
us.
without the vase?
by himself.
You
He
guys
actually.
have any stragglers around here?
Hmm?
You guys don't have any stragglers that might be catching up, do you?
No, it's just the 8 of us. We travel in we travel in groups of 8.
Okay.
Nice
That's
dog.
weird. I just fed him.
Is 7 an unlucky number?
Yes.
No, he explains it has something to do with the phases of the moon, and he goes into he starts to go into great detail about how each of the monks represents a different phase of the moon, and each one of the and what their representation is.
This is when I pull out a quill and start walking up to a monk and drawing a phase of the moon on his forehead.
Which phase?
Are you actually going to do that?
If he doesn't stop me, yes.
What are you doing? He sort of pulls back. You do actually see, like, as he's
talking about the phase of the moon.
They do actually have their holy symbols. Each of their holy symbols do have a moon in the center.
I paint their holy symbol on their forehead so I can see it better.
I was going to say each of their holy symbols has a moon, and each one of them has a different phase for what they're supposed to represent.
Okay, fine. I will notice that, and I will continue to get ready to paint their forehead unless they stop me.
It is at this point that I am wondering if
I'm
it's better
hoping.
Well, the bad news is the one you try to do that to finds it highly offensive.
More power to him. I don't care. If he stops me, I stop.
All right, yeah, he stops
fine,
you.
You don't want to help. I thought it would be a good testament to your faith.
Please ask before you do such a thing. For now, we would rather not do such a ritual.
In which case, I put the pen away and then I start drawing it in the dirt in front of each of them so I can make sure it doesn't get lost.
Okay, so you draw it in front of them instead? All right, there. That they'll allow.
I am amusing myself.
He's keeping himself amused. All right.
It also lets me look over the monks to see if they have anything worth taking better while I'm casing them.
You can make a perception to see if they have anything.
Oh, I'm betting they don't.
Oh, you do see a few of them had some, at least 3 of them had some healing potions.
Potions of some sort.
Potions of some sort. They seem
Not
to
that
have
I'm that
some
worried about it.
1 or 2 scrolls. You're not sure if they're magical. And a few warding. They do have just basic knives and short blades for protection. That's about it. One of them is carrying a rather large pouch of gold. Or large pouch.
About halfway through the shift, I will bring up in conversation the cultists that have been going around of late, of the forked tongue, and see if I can get them to comment.
It's not a forked tongue.
You tell them that. Do you call them forked tongue or
whatever
they're tooth and tongue?
Yeah, but they're the forked tongue. From outside perspective, that's
they're the tooth and
symbol.
tongue.
It's a tongue with a tooth piercing it.
Yeah.
How is that a forked tongue in any sense of the word?
Well, the last cultist we ran into had a forked tongue. Probably because he had his ripped out, but that's a whole different matter. But yes, I will mention the cult. And yes, I leave it open for misinterpretation.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea.
Well, he doesn't know any. They don't seem to. Actually, I'll give him an advantage because there's 8.
Right back.
They're not utterly clueless, but they don't know of anything.
Yeah. It takes him a little bit, but eventually they It's like, oh yeah, we've heard about them. They're a rather interesting lot. From what I understand, nobody really knows their origins, but they seem to believe they believe, uh, as our ancient legends go, the primordials created the universe, and the primordials, when they vanished, uh, but they vanished long time ago. So nobody truly knows how they did it. But they believe they believe that above the primordials was a singular being who created the primordials themselves, and they believe that he did so by carving off pieces of himself to create the universe. And they believe that the age of rifts is an indicator that the that the being is trying to reunite itself together, and they believe themselves to be agents of that unification. The problem is none of them truly know what the unification is. So the cult itself is divided into many divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yours Yours, from what I hear, is the cannibalistic one tends to stay down in the human lands. We have slightly different ones up here. Yours tend to believe that.
That's no fun. All I know is he was hauling around a demon that was no joke.
Yes, they do have some rather powerful and unfortunate rituals. If you actually do, ow! If you actually encounter, quiet, George, stop that. If you upset them for some reason, they can send quite a force against you. Yeah.
I wonder how long it'll take the next one to catch up. Do
Who
they
knows?
stay in touch, or is that sort of a mystery of their inner cult?
It really depends. From what I understand, the ones that are in the human lands and the ones that are in the elven lands tend to consider the other blasphemous.
Well, that's a plus.
Yes. Well, unless you get caught in their crossfire.
You know any good ways of sealing their magic?
Frankly, I tend to avoid that kind of stuff. That kind of dark magic is not to be trifled with.
I'm not trifling. I'm trying to keep it away. Or keep it from finding me, anyway.
Finding you? Why? Why would they be after you?
We
boy.
disrupted a few coven a while back.
You hear snoring from inside the building. Well,
And they recently caught up with us, and we were trying to figure out why they would be looking for us again.
well, who knows? Depending on what you encountered, you may have all kinds of dark rituals are going on. What you may have encountered may have been um sorry, lost train of thought. I was reading that. Uh, Perhaps you disrupted a powerful ritual of theirs, and they seek. Well, with the two tentacles, yeah. Who knows? Or perhaps you just got unlucky and they found you again.
Yeah, well, one can hope that. So, what have you heard of this town up the way?
Town, let's see. Which direct? Yeah, you tell them where you're headed.
We're going east. Which I'm guessing is not where they're going, or are they going east
Yeah,
too?
they're headed opposite direction.
So they should be able to tell us all about the town.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we actually passed through there the other day. Not much to it. From what I understand, it's a fishing, primarily a fishing port. Usually, sort of a not really a major, not really a major port, but ships carrying goods will tend to stop there. So they don't usually pick up anything other than the fish, or drop much off other than basic wares.
Interesting. Does the river go anywhere?
Yeah, it actually goes. Switch back to the map. Whoop.
How big a river are we talking? Oh, that big river.
Yeah. There's the major river here, is the primary one. It's actually north of their village. That's where they'll usually go on most of their fishing. But there are some tributaries that head down all the way down and connect into this one here, as well as a few that branch off and head towards the ocean. But small enough that it's not really seen on the map.
Mm-hmm. Well, it'll be an interesting place to visit.
Indeed. Well, about that time, the sun starts coming up. They start setting up camp for the night, or actually, they start moving to the side. They're going to set up camp once you guys leave.
Mm-hmm.
Damien, you wake up. At this point, your character wakes up and sees the group of clerics outside, or pilgrims.
I go in and shuffle George awake.
Wow.
Try and disentangle him from Abacus.
Wow. Gets up, sort of groggily. Kira and Michael, you guys wake up, look around, and you realize that Manbreaker is gone.
Where's Manbreaker?
Okay.
He went out hunting.
Okay. I mean, I fed him before we
While
started
I'm back
taking
in camp,
watch,
I'm going to look for the vase.
It is as. Did you guys leave it in the cart?
It's probably still in the cart.
Okay. Yep. Yep. As far as you can tell, it's still in the cart. Well, as far as you can tell, as soon as you look, you know it's in the cart.
Mm-hmm.
Were any of you aware of the individuals who set up camp just across the trail from us?
We all knew.
Oh.
They're not across. They're just
right outside
outside,
the door.
actually.
They're right outside the door. They're
right
wonderful
outside the door.
monks. You should go say hi. They're your type of souls.
What is that supposed to mean?
They worship Siloon, the moon goddess.
Fair enough. Well, it doesn't look like we've been robbed, so I suppose they're
No, they're our
probably okay.
friends. Why are you people
They've
so
been very well behaved.
suspicious?
Yes, especially considering you were trying to draw moons on their forehead.
Oh, please. I just wasn't trying to talk them into it that hard.
I will say a quick hello to the monks.
They greet you. Are you guys gonna do anything before you head out, or?
P.
You hear what sounds like a fire hose out back of the building.
Disentangle the hair on George and keep him from being all tangled and matted mesh.
All right. He doesn't seem to like it much, but he lets you do it. Ow! Ow! Bat you with his tentacles a couple times.
Yes, you know you feel better when we're done. Feed him a treat. You know, one of these days I'm going to have to get a hanging toy for him and his tentacles to play with on top of the wagon.
You think a cat can grab one of those hanging toys easily? Imagine a cat with tentacles.
Yeah, I know. That's the whole point. He can play with the spinny thing on top of the wagon.
Especially if you don't know where he actually is.
You just see these two tentacles coming up from under the wagon.
Good training practice for blind fighting.
So, yep, as you're getting ready to leave,
then we surprise them by pulling a cart out of the hidey hole.
Out of the hidey hole. Oh, actually, no, you wouldn't have been able to fit the cart in there. You would have had to park it next
Next door.
Yeah, how would we fit a cart in a doorway?
Yeah, you'd either have to put it over here, or back here, or behind the building.
Whatever, close enough.
Or I guess it could have been over here, but
yeah, right there.
yeah. So these guys would have been camping here. You'd have had the cart there. They're kind of using
Petting
the cart.
George on the way out to the wagon.
Hey, I'm gonna nudge Basar Bakar.
You do get some more strange looks out of Displacer Beast. It's not a very commonly seen thing.
Yeah,
You are certainly
not trying to eat my face.
You guys are certainly an interesting group. I would say I rather enjoyed this night.
I'm gonna nudge Basar Bakar and say, like quietly so that nobody else can hear, I'm gonna say, hey, do you think we should give them the vase? They might be better equipped to handle it.
What was that? You were kind of...
I'm going to ask them where they're heading.
Right. I forgot that I'm a character. I am going to ask if these monks have learned anything interesting in their travels. Just any knowledge they'd be willing to share.
I'm sure they have learned quite a bit in their travels.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to ask them.
It's like you want them to tell you about...
These are the most boring monks you have ever met.
You get a detailed story about how to clean toe fungus.
Ew.
The proper procedures for purifying water,
including a demonstration.
Yeah, I'm whipping out a book and taking notes on this. This is useful stuff.
As you guys are eating breakfast, he's sitting there with his foot up on the table, putting ointments and salves on, and
That's fine.
I now know how to treat foot fungus.
Hey, you never know. It could random things like that.
Turning it into poison like one of our past druids. On the other hand, if you're not attached to those toes, I know where they'd fetch a good price.
I like my toes.
Okay.
Thinking of Nolbig?
What was that?
I said, are you thinking of Nolbig?
Neilbog?
Neilbog?
No, it's not Neilbog. It was the other gnome that was part of your guys' group when you first started.
From the Underdark that collected everybody's toes if she had a chance.
Ooh.
She liked to collect people's toes after she... Well, she didn't even have to defeat them. She just wanted to make a necklace out of them. Anyway.
Not just a singular necklace.
Necklaces. As you guys get ready to leave, the preachers come up and ask you if you would like a blessing on your way.
Sure.
So
I'm not objecting, but the storm will provide.
All right, Damien.
It'll likely be ineffective, but if it makes you feel better, then I suppose I'll accept.
All right.
I'm gonna like stand up and like throw my arms out really big, and I'm gonna say, Bearlawn grant them safe travels through the wilderness.
All right. Next time, all of you who accepted the blessing, next time you enter battle, you will be able to act as though you've had the blessing spell cast on you.
Cool.
And doesn't that give a plus D4 to damage rolls and saving throws?
To attack rolls and saving throws, yes.
Okay.
And it will for the next battle, and it will last for up to 1 minute.
Sweet.
I'm gonna hand them 10 gold and tell them be careful out there.
They thank you for your donation, and as you guys remove your camp, they set up their gear inside the building to rest for the day. So you guys get back on the road.
I'm gonna shout real loud for Manbreaker.
You get no response.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Expect to.
I'm gonna like climb on top of Basar Bakar and like put my hands on top of his head and get as high as I can. And then really loud, I'm gonna say, "Man Breaker!"
You get some strange looks from the monks who don't know what you're.
I'm going to look back at her and say, don't you know better? Just howl at him. Though it's probably better if Basar does it.
Are we missing one of our animals?
Yeah.
Oh, terrific. Well, if he has any attachment to us, I'm sure he'll find his way.
Yeah, but I don't think he does.
I did
He
feed him
does
an
and he
awful lot of
doesn't.
food.
That's true. We've fed him a lot of food, and I healed him.
But you also killed his former pack mates
I
and
didn't
his
kill anybody.
handlers.
I have killed people, but I did not kill his handlers or his friends.
Yeah, but that just means that we're on top of the pack now.
Am I
Damn.
lucky to have not been eaten last night?
Just be glad you had George to protect you.
Glad I didn't
He
run
does
out of
like to
food.
eat gnomes. He did say that.
Yeah, but he was kidding. He would never eat me.
Sure, kidding.
I don't think he had that level of sense of humor.
All right.
I'm sure he'll find us. You can always leave a trail of jerky treats if you want him to.
He's got a good hunting nose. If he wanted to find you guys, he'd be able to sniff out your trail.
Yeah, well, the wagon doesn't leave much besides horse poo, but yeah.
I mean,
Well,
a
the
minotaur
minute-
leaves a whole lot of smell.
Yeah, Basar Bakar is not riding anything.
Yeah, and it's been long
but
enough.
He's freshly bathed.
I was gonna say it's been about a week since his bath, so for a barbarian that's relatively soon, but
He is nowhere near his normal stench yet.
Still got to poop.
All right. So you continue on your way. You continue on your way. Pretty easy traveling. You don't see anything unusual.
Why did George roll animal handling?
That wouldn't be George, that'd be me. But
Oh.
Do you want to know what a teenager is doing to? Oh God.
Should I rename that human handling and see what he's really doing with us?
God. I was in my other game. I was playing a female character who ended up getting a belt, belt of gender swap. So as soon as I got that, we went back to the end or whatever. He's like, "All right, what do you guys want to do?" And I said, "First, I want to make an inspection check followed by a performance." Because why? Oh God.
And your dance finishes with you putting on a belt? What?
Anyway, yeah. So about roughly noon, you come upon the village. It's a bit of a heavier forest area. You're approaching a heavier forest area, I should say. As you see the village in front of you.
Bank.
You are approaching from... Oh, come on. From up here. So this orange square will be where you guys are at. Yeah, it's midday. You see it. It's fairly busy. You see some people out in the field. You're guessing it's probably about large enough to house probably about maybe 200 people altogether. There's few more buildings and stuff around here. Some basic fields. Looks like rice. Rice is grown is rice grown in water?
No,
Sorta.
it's grown in marsh flats.
Sorta.
Sorta.
See some rice fields around here. most of the people, it's late planting season about this time. They're still planting, but most of the fields are already taken care of.
We got somewhere to be, so I'm just going to continue walking.
All right, so you come walking in.
I'm just greeting whoever the first person we pass is.
Yeah, you see from what you can tell, you hear a loud burp. As far as you can see, you're only seeing elves here so far. You get about to hear. Come on, damn it! There we go. It's like half an inch between move it and resize it. Get about to here. You see a group of them doing some repairs on this building. One of the elves walking along, holding some lumber, looks up at you. Greeting, travelers.
Hello.
Can I by chance help you with anything?
We're supposedly making our way to the east, chasing something.
You guys are within the zone of where, according to the map, of the zone of where the tracker dot is. So
We're searching for
it's
someone.
somewhere within a mile of here.
Yes, but I don't want to tell them that.
Okay.
I'm just
I'm just
greeting
letting
them
you
at the
know.
moment. I'm just saying greetings. Yes, we are on our way to the east a bit and trying to look for a good place to stay in the meantime. Do you have a library or anything nearby, as well as an inn?
Look down here. He points down here. We have an inn down here if you are looking for some place to stay. We don't have a library per se. The mayor is home up here. He might have some books if you're looking for something. And down here we have the temple.
Where are the
Temple which may house some books. What are you looking?
Who's the temple to?
books?
The temple is to. Oh God, I can't remember her name. It's a
Moon
it's
god or
no, it's
the sun god?
it's consecrated to a couple. One of the moon goddess is one of them, but it's primarily to a. It's one I invented. It's a basically a goddess, not a goddess, but a celestial who is said to protect small villages from harm.
Okie dokie. Sounds great. I think we're
Long
going to
story
stop by
short-
the temple on our way to the mayor. If the mayor wants to see us there, that'd be great too. I don't know how quickly word travels around town.
Oh, I'm sure it'll get there eventually.
All right.
I heard.
If you see a big wolf in the woods, let us know before you try and hunt it.
They look at each other. A wolf? Is that what's been hunted? Is that what's been disturbing our hunts lately?
Not that I'm aware of,
Oh,
but I know that we camped and ours snuck out.
oh, a pet
As I
wolf?
pat George on the head.
Drakkar,
Warg.
I have a small suggestion for you.
Huh.
Shut your mouth and don't open it again.
Whatever.
Do you guys remember what happened last time you let Drakkar be your negotiator?
Yeah.
That's because they would refuse to set terms. I am perfectly sociable. At any rate,
No,
I'm
you're
moving on
not.
towards the temple and driving down the road.
All right.
Since we're in a town, can we bust into that party inventory on the wagon and split it up evenly between everybody?
Or a little more evenly, I guess.
No,
Yeah.
evenly. Because currently there's 500 platinum and a bunch of gold and shit sitting on a wagon.
Well, that's because it's easier to carry on the wagon than in our pockets.
I
You're
want
the
it in
only
my
one that
pocket.
doesn't have encumbrance.
Debatable.
It's also not being watched 24/7 on the wagon if you're not
Yeah, what
nearby.
Since when?
goal?
Since ever.
We haven't left the wagon since we've been on the road.
You slept a third of the night without watching the wagon. I slept a third of the night. I never watched the wagon.
We watched the area.
So nobody was watching the wagon.
Whatever.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say that we should split the money.
Whatever.
You can leave your part on the wagon. I don't.
There's 500 platinum, so we each get 250.
125.
You splitting it evenly with the new guy as well?
It's nice of you to try and multiply that by the DM, but
Trying to double your profits?
I meant
You're a
the
math
gold,
fail.
we each get 250.
125.
No,
Gold.
platinum we each get 125. Gold we
Oh,
each get
oh,
250.
okay.
250 or 350?
So you guys are generously splitting it evenly with the new guy as well?
Heck yeah.
All right.
How much bank am I receiving?
A lot.
250 platinum, I heard.
You
Or
just
no,
got 125 platinum and 250 gold. Suddenly,
Because you're our friend.
you just got paid a lot of money to be traveling with these guys.
Yeah, well, I absent-mindedly take the money because I want to see the books.
Good for you.
We're heading to the temple.
Oh yeah, and by the
There's a
way,
couple
up here
books.
is the dockyard.
Yeah, but none of the
Uh,
boats there are big enough to attract my attention.
May and I are gonna probably start looking for the guy who we're supposed to be there to find.
I'm gonna look at books.
Cool.
What are you gonna do? You gonna start asking around for him, or?
What do you think, hon?
I think we should probably. Did this lady, did Triana Trin give us any sort of indication at all, like what he looks like, what we're looking for, where is she would be? Like
He
what
did.
he's doing?
She did give you a. She gave you a general description of what he looked like. She
So if
would.
you get a big enough magnifying glass, how specific is your magic mark on your map?
Like I said, it's to within. It's to within probably 1, maybe 2 miles. The thing with maps of this time era, they aren't necessarily designed to be.
They're not exact.
They're not designed to be exact. They're designed to highlight specific
Locations, reference points.
reference points. So the actual distance varies. Finding one that's actually accurate is very difficult. And this particular one is aside from being a tracking capabilities, is more of a standard map. So it's like I said, you're within the dots, so you're guessing you'd probably be within 1 to 2 miles of his location, probably closer.
And did she say at all what he would be doing here?
She wasn't.
Supposedly.
She did send him off to do some research. She was paying him to do research. Aside from sending him her correspondences, he was going off to different various areas. She wasn't entirely sure. He did not send her a correspondence before he left this last time, so she's not entirely sure why he went to this area.
Okay.
Or he's in a grave.
I say we go to the inn and ask around if they've seen any travelers that look like him.
Well, I'm heading to the temple. It's on the way to the inn.
All right. Drakar, or not Drakar, Damien, or what is your character's name?
Abacus.
Abacus.
Yes.
Abacus, you're gonna go with the group then, I'm assuming?
Yes.
All right.
Looking for books, which would be at the temple, yes.
Are you gonna ask about anything on your way there, or are you gonna wait until you're at the temple?
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until I'm at the temple. I'm good.
I'm just
I am
greeting
going-
people as
I
I
am going to
pass
thank-
along the road.
All right.
I am going to thank the party for the money, though. That's important.
That's the important part.
It does allow you to get a better library.
All right, you pass along here. There we go. As you get down here, you can actually see this part here. It looks to be an old. Looks like it was once entrance to a mine shaft that has been long since closed off and covered up.
That's odd, being this close to a river.
Make your way. Can you guys see this thing moving?
Yeah.
All right. I'm curious. I don't know what your guys' perspective is. So yeah, you make it way down here. Come on. There we go. Down here, some bunch of housings and stuff like that. You pass through the cemetery.
The edge of the cemetery.
Edge of the cemetery. Around to the temple.
Does the cemetery look funny? Any new graves?
As far as you can tell, no. There doesn't seem to be anything odd about it. It is a bit large for what you would expect for an area like this, but if it's being elves, you will have no idea how long this area could have been settled.
Not to mention how much travelers it might be containing.
Yeah.
Given that it's a river town.
I did not get a temple map, so I'm going to leave it here.
It actually surprises me somewhat that they have a cemetery as opposed to burying people on the river or incineration.
Well, every area has their own traditions, so.
And every religion does too.
Yep.
At any rate,
are you saying that being an elf is a religion?
No, but elves have a lot of different religions.
Yeah.
Elves have different procedures, same as people do. Mm-hmm. All of us.
Yeah, but their funeral rites tend to be a lot like humans. You know, some of them will be preserved in sacred areas. Some will be buried. Some will be buried at sea. Some will be burned. Again, just area/religion, all that stuff.
Some will be weekend.
It actually surprises me that they have a graveyard. That's all. Most elves will fertilize a tree or something.
Well, maybe they're going to use it. Well, what do you think they're fertilizing these fields with? These were ex-graveyards. Anyway.
I don't know.
Anyway, you make it along. You
pull up inside. In front of the temple.
You pull up inside. You see midday, midweek, not many people here. There's a few getting some basic blessings throughout the day, making some prayers, making some offerings. But again, for the most part, the people are off doing their daily thing. The building itself, just a standard wooden building, one long room, several pews. There's a there's the primary goddess statue in front of the celestial with a few smaller, lesser, but still acknowledged gods along the walls, various elven gods.
Mm-hmm.
Your knowledge of religion would say none of them are evil as far as you can tell.
My knowledge of religion tells me I don't give a shit. Now, Abacus's knowledge of religion, on the other hand, might be totally different.
I have proficiency in religion.
So you're doing better than me.
All right,
I am very knowledgeable in the deities.
In the 80s?
Deities.
Oh, D80s?
Yes, as in deities.
Oh, deities.
Yes.
All right, so you make it inside. Let me think. As I said, not many people here. You see a few people that tend the place. Go ahead. I'll give it to you. Up front, you do see one of the elven women in slightly fancier dress, which would likely indicate that she's the one who's in charge of the temple. She's up front, she's up front talking to one of the other, generally talking to one of the others. Another elf. just talking about various things.
Try and get George to behave and go greet them.
Who's watching the wagon?
Like anything's on the wagon at the moment.
Just saying.
All right, so you walk inside. She finishes talking to the. Excuse me. She finishes talking to the person she is. Looks over, approaches. Greetings, travelers. Can I help you with something?
We are here just figuring we'd pay our respects as the monks have told us that you are part of their pilgrimage journey.
Oh, yes,
That
I
we
think
met
I
out of
remember a
town.
group of night monks passing through here the other day.
Doesn't seem like there's any reason they would get lost that easily.
Well, stuff happens, They were probably avoiding the main roads, with all the disappearances and all.
Disappearances? What disappearances?
Oh, well, the mayor doesn't want me talking about that.
Oh,
Bad for
but,
business, you know.
But
I
We
us,
did
completely
get
understand
jumped
that.
by a cannibal.
but us children of the cloth must make sure that we are ready to protect our flock.
Well, this is true, I suppose. Well, make a persuasion.
Damn.
Nice. This is true, I suppose. From what we've heard lately, there have been a number of disappearances along the roads. The mayor has been trying to downplay it a bit because he's afraid that it would harm trade to the city. But over the last several months, well, probably for the last possibly even year or so, caravans go disappearing on the road all the time. But this one particular road seems to be unusually heavy.
Would that be the one to the guild or somewhere else?
No, it's one that's heading towards or south. One towards the east of here.
We might have to help you investigate that. You haven't heard any workings of the pierced tongue cult, have you?
The pierced tongue? No,
That's what it is, isn't it? Fork and tongue or whatever?
Tooth and tongue.
Yeah, that.
Fuck's sake.
She sort of raises an eyebrow. None that I've heard. Why?
Just checking. We ran into one of their cultists a while back and
Really?
hoping we don't need to deal with them every other trip.
What happened?
He showed up demanding our belongings with a demon, and we had to put him down.
Demon? That's odd. Really?
I
Why would he
described
demand
the
your
battle with the forked demon and how it cleaved our carriage that we had to put back together, and how we smited it down, and the goring of the charging minotaur and his travails.
She does seem to. Your description of cutting down the creature and the thing, she seems to find that a bit enjoyable to hear.
And I even tell a bad tale. Got it.
Okay,
Yes.
May's getting really bored and she's gonna nudge the
Hun,
Sarvikar
hun,
and be like,
we're not
hey,
there.
what?
Hun, we're not there.
I thought we stopped with
Well,
them on the way.
I suppose they deserve.
Well,
I
you were
suppose they
going on
deserve
to
what
the
they
inn,
got.
which is a different trail.
But I find it odd that they would be trying to steal your belongings. They're not exactly known to be street thieves.
Well, no. He was making reference that we might have had something, but it seems odd because we've only picked up a trinket or two here and there in our travels. You wouldn't know a good place to store any such trinkets, would you?
Well,
Well, if you're looking for a place to store your vehicle for the night, up across from the inn there is a the inn has a barn that you can use, a storage barn.
I have a friend here who's also interested in any books or library you may have in the area.
Well, this is a small town. We don't exactly have much. Occasionally, we get some things that we pass through here, but mostly what we have are just old religious texts, old stories,
Right up her
few
alley.
ancient documents.
Right up her alley.
Well, not ancient documents, but more copies of ancient documents. We
Are you
occasionally
interested, Abacus?
I yes, Miss. What should I address you by?
call me
High Priestess.
just call me High Priestess.
Okay, High Priestess. He's right. If you wouldn't mind, I would love to have a look at some of the books and documents you have in your temple.
I don't mind sharing, as long as you're here. Is there anything
Thank.
in particular you're looking for?
Anything in particular I'm looking for? I'm interested in those documents. Any old records would be interesting to look at.
We have, let's see, what they have at the temple. Have some scrolls about the founding of this town some 3,000 years ago. We have actually no,
I will.
sorry, 30,000 years ago. Um, have a few religious histories. There some stories about ancient ruins, some old references to old poems. Like I said, we don't have any actual old documents here, just mostly copies.
Well,
Is there a kitchen nearby while you guys are out studying?
Kitchen.
I figured I might make some tea.
There'd be some places out, be
Well, I was
places around
wondering
here
about
where you could
in the
start
temple.
a kitchen fire, a kitchen hearth that you'd be able to brew up some water.
Mm-hmm. So I will go make some tea for the two of them to study with.
All right. So
And otherwise try and keep George out from underfoot of everybody.
uh, yeah, authenticity is overrated. If there's any favors I can do for you in exchange, I'd be
are you
happy.
flirting with me?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm just kidding. Sorry, I get that. I get that particular phrase from several men.
Well, no, I
Abacus is a woman.
no offense,
I
but
know that was
not
the joke.
no offense, but not interested. I just figure since you're allowing me to look through your library, I'd pay you back in some way, if you deem it necessary.
Yeah, we can see if you require any of my services, we can discuss it then.
All right, I'd be happy to serve.
All right.
And I am going to begin looking through some of these thingies, these books and stuff.
Is there anything you're looking for in particular?
Is there anything pertaining to magic specifically?
Make perception or investigation.
Investigation. That is better than my perception. Hey, that's a good roll.
Hmm.
It's a good
You
15.
do. You do. Let's see. Oh, jeez. Okay, you actually do manage to brain fart. Magic. What is your character looking for? By just what's your character's motivations here? I'm trying to figure out.
Just any kind of recording of like we did this time using magic, or our spells are looking a little bit like this really long time ago. Also interested in some of the religious texts, so there's any of that, then should definitely pick some of that up.
Okay. There isn't too much in there, like I said. Nothing that you've really haven't heard of. You do find some scrolls talking about the founding of the village. Apparently, they were hoping to turn it into a mining village originally, as they had managed to strike some rather rich veins of gold and some gemstones near the surface, but it quickly ran out. Um,
Does it say when the village was founded?
approximately 30,000 years ago, give or take a thousand
Boy,
years.
give or take 1,000 years.
Yeah, this village is apparently it's well, you know how villages normally or human villages can be lazy and not really change over the years. Just multiply that 100 times for an elf. So that's basically what's happened here. Is for the most part, this village has just kind of sat here for all that time with very little change outside of there was a time like I said when it was originally started as a mining, it became a farming, and then over time the waterways changed and the river started flowing through their territory, at which point or through the village, at which point it switched to a fishing village.
Makes sense. Do they have a name for the village?
um Let me look. um Yelin. Yelin.
Yelin.
Yeah. Yelin.
And 30,000 years old. Interesting.
Yeah. The elves inhabited this land far longer before the humans. Been here. They've been in here for at least 100,000 years. So,
Makes sense. Then,
in terms of magic, you do find some. You do find some scrolls which have some interesting diagrams on them. They themselves aren't actually magical scrolls, but if you can translate them over, you may be able to complete them to become magic scrolls.
I am copying the crap out of them.
Make a, I believe it's a dex check.
Dexterity check?
Yep.
Okay. Yonkis.
Do you have writing tools?
Oh, baby. Um, I mean,
Well, it doesn't matter. That just would have given you advantage.
And the skill would be
okay, yeah.
and the skill, Tyler, would be Arcana.
Well, this is copying. He's not actually. He's just copying it now. He's not trying to complete them.
Yeah.
Right, but it still ends up falling under the skills for Arcana.
Okay. Well, I think you got the same in Arcana, don't you?
I have a +1. Well, I have a +5 in Arcana.
Oh, so it'd actually be
compared to
better.
+4 in
So,
Dexterity. Yeah, it would
so
be
yeah,
better.
you'll spend the next little while recording, transferring the notes over.
Sweet.
Record that in your notes, and we'll figure out what to do with it later.
Yep. So,
All right.
I guess magic
That's going to take a while for you to do that.
stuff.
So, what are the rest of you guys doing while he's in the temple?
I was making
What-
tea and looking for secret doors, and otherwise listening in on what he's studying
All right.
and hearing about.
You searching in the
And-
temple for secret doors or outside?
I'm just
or what?
looking around, yeah.
Go ahead and make an investigation.
I'm
Or-
not very specific.
No, you don't find anything.
No worries.
All right. What about Bakar and May?
We are headed to the inn.
All right. Yeah, it's gonna take you. It's gonna take you several hours to copy that information over.
That's fine. I'm gonna copy the stuff over. I don't mind how long it takes.
All right. So
I'm keeping George entertained, trying to keep him from messing with the incense burners.
Is there any specific number of diagrams I copied, or is it just like a bunch?
Yeah, just
And a bunch of information.
yeah, just magic diagrams, and we'll, like I
Okay.
said, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, I am coming through.
So you guys, do you guys take the cart with you? Do you go on foot?
We're on
No.
foot.
Well, I'm
Well,
on foot. She's
He's
on
on
back.
foot. I'm riding him.
All right. Dang it! Come on. Come on. Damn it. Bad bread box. Screw it. You're up here. All right. You guys head up to the end. You are getting some, as usual, you're getting some interesting looks. Not used to seeing a minotaur walking through town. Yeah, you walk into the inn. How long did you guys wait before you left?
We were never at the temple.
Oh, you guys just continued
just-
on?
Yeah. We
All
had
right,
no
so
plans.
so you head up to the inn. It's about average busy right now. It's around lunchtime, so there's a number of people in there. There do seem to be a number of sailors, mostly. A few of the townsmen. There are, there are a number of sailors. There does appear to be a few sailing ships in town. You walk in, and what do you do from there?
We'll probably, I don't know. I guess talk to the bartender maybe.
All right. You walk up to the bartender again. Oh, I'm getting an echo. Heavy echo, someone. There we go. Yeah, you walk up to the bartender again, another elf. The most of the sailors appear to be elves. Actually, it's a mix of elves, humans, even a dwarf amongst them. The villagers again, almost entirely elf. One or two half elves. The bartender is actually a younger male elf. Looks up at you. So, what can I get you guys? He doesn't seem phased by you.
You want to take this on?
Um. No. Um. Hi. Hello.
Hey,
Okay.
hi up there. Nice, interesting mount you got.
Why, thank you. His name is Basar Bakar, and I am May.
Welcome, eh? Is there anything I can get you?
I was actually in search of information.
Well, that's usually what people come here for, it seems. So what can I do for you?
Well, I am trying to help someone out. We're looking for someone who has gone missing.
Who's that?
I don't know his name.
Actually, you would know his. Don't think I've written it
okay.
down, but
I
you
might
know
have
his
it
name, which I'm gonna have to record it again. Most of my notes are gone, so I can't remember if I actually gave you his name though.
No, I don't think you did.
I don't remember you giving us his name.
If you
He
did, I
said
didn't
a
write it down.
researcher.
Well, let's fix that. Galef Burrods. Glaf
Hold on,
BER.
she's getting a pencil.
got it?
You're
Here, I'll put it in the chat.
there. You go.
Galef birds. He thinks for a second, and it's like, see that weird human pass through here? The guy who's always got his nose in the books?
That sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Disappeared a few weeks ago. Never even cleared out his room.
Well,
Really?
we could
Not
do
really
that.
sure.
Yeah, do you want us to take care of that for you?
How do I know you're friends of his?
Oh, I'm the Lady Mayella. I just,
We're looking for him, aren't we?
Yeah, but not everybody who's being sought after wants to be found, or
do you
if
know
you
the
know what I
Trin
mean.
family?
What was that? Sorry.
Do you know the Trin family?
Trin family. Trin. No, I can't say I've heard that name. Haven't heard much. Don't know much outside this town. I can name pretty much everybody here, but few of the sailors, but few of the regular sailors. But outside this town, I've never really been out.
That's understandable. Well, I'm the Lady Mayella. I hail from whatever my gnomish city is called.
Gnome land.
Gnomeland. I hail from Gnomeland. And
It's Nomoria, I thought.
Nomoria. The Gnome Kingdom is just what it's referred to as.
I'm the Lady Mayella from the Gnome Kingdom.
Wow,
And
you're far from home.
I am, yes, I'm traveling.
Indeed. No wonder you got such a sturdy mount. That thing must be able to travel for hundreds of miles.
Oh, he can.
Mhm.
He's amazing. Yes. I pat him on the head.
Mhm.
But please, we would just like to take a look at his things and see if we can help find him.
I'll make a persuasion roll.
Oh boy.
Well, we just failed that.
Well, so much for that plan.
13.
Well, if you're here to look for him, like I said, I gotta clear out the. Can't really let you take his stuff because I'm not entirely sure. I can't entirely guarantee that you're not some thief, but I can let you go in there and check the place out.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. So he leads you up the stairs to one of the rooms. He's already got the place rented out for at least another week, though. So I haven't really until then I haven't really gotten rid of his stuff. Unlocks the door, opens it up. You immediately hear a crashing sound as a pile of books fall to the ground. Like, yeah, not exactly the cleanest adventurer. Had no idea how he manages to get all these things in his backpack. You see, there's literally dozens of books all over the place. Some a chalkboard up on the wall with a bunch of scribbles and designs and art, both mundane and arcane symbols written there. You're not sure where he's sleeping because his bed is covered with books as well, books and scrolls.
Is the innkeeper staying with us while we look, or is he...
Yeah, he's going to stay here. He's, at least for a while, keep an eye on you.
Okay. I am going to look very closely at his bag.
His bag is not here.
Oh, fuck.
You see that? You see just his basic... It looks like the contents of his bag. What would probably be considered the contents of the bag are here, but the bag itself is gone.
What's in the pile?
Couple changes of clothes. Again, a bunch of books. There's not like massive quantities, but there's like... It would be like one of those comedy scenes where you see somebody walking in a backpack just twice their size full of books kind of thing. So yeah, a lot of books. But enough that you could travel with if you pack them properly.
Do any of the books like stand out, or does he have like notes scribbled anywhere or something?
There is one sitting on the desk. However, Oh, actually, nope. There is one sitting on the desk where it's bookmarked, still sitting there, bookmarked open. What languages can you read?
Fuck, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got
Can you read
Common, English, and what?
Can you read Elvin?
No.
No. Unfortunately, you sitting on the desk. Unfortunately, you feel that this page is important, but you can't read it. It looks to be a. From the looks of it, it appears to be a journal.
Okay, I look at Basar Bakar, and then I like jerk my head at the dude.
You heard him, Car, take him out.
No, don't take him out. Distract. Fuck.
So I have to distract him, huh?
I don't know. I don't know what Basar Bakar got from that. I just looked at you really intensely and then jerked my head.
The proper answer is you drop a deuce right there in the middle of his floor.
I was gonna show him my Minotaur junk, but okay.
Want to see who I worship? Ball.
Ball. So is that a performance or what?
No, you won't have to. What are you actually going to do? Are you just going to do that?
Flash my Minotaur junk at him.
I will give May advantage on her sleight of hand to steal the book.
Okay. Fuck, what do I even have to roll for a sleight of hand?
20.
What do I have for that? Ooh, that's not great.
Dex.
God, there's some game. It was you get advantage, so you roll twice.
Oh, thank God.
There's some game where it was a tongue-in-cheek type game, and one of the main characters was this Asian guy. He was an Asian cook who worshipped he worshipped a dragon named Lu that was under his skirt. And anytime somebody said that his God wasn't real, he threatened to flip up his skirt and show him Lu. All right. Natural one. Yeah, you're not exactly.
Natural one.
You're not exactly all that stealthy, but he is very distracted by not wanting to see this. Oh, dude, seriously, could you get your junk out of my face? You go to swipe the book, it almost falls off the table. You manage to grab it again and slip it into your cloak. It's not pretty, but it got the job done.
All that matters.
What?
All that matters.
Yeah, we did it! Teamwork! Okay. Does anything else in the room look worth investigating?
Well,
other than my Minotaur junk.
Not unless you're into reading lots and lots of literature. You're pretty sure there might be stuff in these books that might help, but actually going through it may take some time.
You know, I have a friend that really likes books.
Books?
Meanwhile, in the library, as he's writing something down, his head just perks up, or her head just perks up. Books?
That's exactly what happens, yes.
So, Mr. Innkeeper.
Oh, could you please put down your skirt? He's no longer in the room.
Excuse me, Mr. Innkeeper, where are you going?
I
thought you were to steal things. Don't you have to watch us to make sure we're not stealing anything?
Oh, God.
And we could have stole a bunch more stuff. He just walked out.
Oh, God. It's not the sight. It's the wiggling. Oh. Dear God, how do you walk with that thing? Is that thing prehensile? What?
Why do I get the impression he's making these commentaries and he's going, but it's because I can flex, and it starts wiggling back and forth.
We are all very mature.
Watch me do push-ups, no hands. Oof. Oh God. And Damien leaves the room.
I'm glad I'm not in the room.
Oh, not whole. Okay. Oh, whew. Okay, back on track.
Okay, Mr. Innkeeper, would it be all right if I went and retrieved one of my friends who could come look through the books more thoroughly?
Yeah, if you could just keep your, that away from me, please.
I will not allow. I will protect you from any minotaur drunk that comes your way.
I don't think you have been succeeding so far.
Roll a strength check.
I was gonna say lines you would never expect to say, but this is D&D, so. Oh.
Roll a strength check.
Glad that statement is not legally enforceable.
Yeah, go ahead. Just, I'll be downstairs.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. So, whew, got a slight headache from that. All right. So, speaking of which, I'm gonna get some water real quick and then figure out what your next steps are while I'm.
So I vote we go back and get Abacus and make Abacus come and read through all this shit.
I am guessing that we need to know the mine layout of this town. Given its age and the fact that it started as a mining town, our portal that he's investigating might be under the town.
Oh, that's a good point.
But breathing water is a whole different challenge. Because the mines are probably flooded.
I could just turn into a frog.
Yeah.
They're
Well, that's great for
amphibious.
you druids.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I'm gonna go order a small mountain of food.
All right.
And
You order the seafood sampler platter.
feeds 12. That's enough for me.
The family meal, the
Do they
family
have any
version.
strong alcoholic drinks you can have?
They do have some. They have some rum. They have a basic rum.
Grog.
No liquor, though?
They've got some higher quality stuff if you want to pay some extra gold.
They're elves. They have elven wine somewhere. They just may refuse to sell it to you because you showed off your junk.
I did not show off my junk, thank you very much.
The bartender seems to be drinking a little extra heavy to try to drink away the memories.
I'm gonna sit down at the bar and be like, so, what kind of drinks are you serving? Do you have anything good?
We got rum. We got tea. We got.
You have anything a little stronger?
You're supposed to flirt and wink at him and say, "Do you have anything to drink for a lady?"
Appletini. Got wine. We got some. Got a few bottles of dwarven ale, if you're interested. Just came in on the shipment.
Yeah, I'll take one of those.
All right. Just a glass or a bottle?
A bottle.
A bottle. That's gonna cost you 3 gold.
Okay.
Sets the bottle up there. All right, Josh and Damien. Are you guys staying in the tavern at the moment?
What? We were at the temple.
No, sorry, I meant Kieran, Michael. Before I move, are you guys staying at the tavern?
How long was the walk between the tavern and the temple?
On foot, probably a good 8 to 10 minutes.
I could leave May here and I could go get Abacus.
Yeah, why don't you go run get Abacus?
All right.
Watch my food, of
Okay. Can I eat some of it?
course.
I eat so little that compared to you that you probably won't even know.
All right.
I eat like an eighth as much food as you do.
Huh?
I eat like an eighth as much food as you do.
You do, actually.
Or less.
Or less.
All right. So you make it. You guys, you're out front brewing tea, drinking tea. Abacus is copying the notebook. The priestess. The priestess heads out.
I was going to inquire if she has any maps of the mines or where we would get references to them.
Maps of the mines. Let's see. Those things. Those you would probably have to check the check with the mayor. She doesn't have. I don't currently have any access, or I don't currently have any copies of those.
Okay.
Have to look in the old blueprints. Place has been closed off for a very long time. We tend, aside from the occasional children that like to play down there in the opening area, for the most part, we don't, play down there without permission. We've all done it. She sort of just kind of shrugs. But aside from that, we usually don't go down there. You never know what could be lurking in places like that, so we try to keep it closed off.
Mm-hmm. Try being the operative word, yes.
So as you're finishing up on your writing, it's getting at this point to be pretty sort of early evening. The Minotaur comes running back, calling for you guys.
He just runs in yelling, "Box!"
He just comes running in, grabs the gnome. Come with me.
As you don't even drop the book.
Put me down, please.
Put me down. Put me down.
Yeah, but you can move much more quickly if he's carrying you.
Not fast enough.
I can walk.
Not fast
Are
enough.
you Makar, Jakar,
The
Bakar?
Sarbakar,
Basar.
the one with the B. Ba.
Okay, Minotaur, please put me down. I'm just finishing up these notes.
We got books for you to read.
You messed up his
really?
scribbles on the paper.
I'll be happy to take a look. This will just take a second. Please put me down.
We're already on the way, so I mean.
I am now ordering you to put me down.
We're gonna have to say no.
All right. So what's your DC?
Oh, party fighting.
AC, yes, AC.
He is holding you, therefore he is technically going to be practically defenseless.
Well, it would be considered a grapple, so he would. So you would be able to.
I am never defenseless. I have a 19.
Well, no, but you're going to take the hit at point blank, given that you're trying not to let go.
This would be considered a grapple, and basically, if you attack during a grapple, you roll with disadvantage.
Huh. Okay.
That's assuming you're rolling a hit roll. At all.
Yeah, if you're trying to roll it to hit roll. Well, even if you're trying to cast a spell, it's at a disadvantage. You could try to make a strength.
Don't care.
You could try to make a strength check to escape, or
yeah, right.
either a strength or a dexterity. Or
no, dexterity might work.
But it's going to be against his strength regardless.
Against his strength, yeah.
I don't know.
I have advantage on strength, by the way.
Is it just a flat dexterity
Well, only when
roll, or
you're
is it,
raging, isn't it?
Nope.
is it acrobatics or
time.
dexterity? I guess it's the same thing.
Why do you have it all the
Dexterity.
time? That seems odd.
Race thing.
Racial bonus.
Bonus,
Yep.
not a feat.
It's like my only racial.
Ooh.
Oh, fuck.
What did he get?
It's got a 22.
Wriggle on out of there. Hopefully.
Okay.
You know what you do,
So,
hon? When he
gotta roll a
wriggles,
strength
you just
against
reach
that?
down and pick him up again.
I mean, he's gonna hit the ground at full run, but. Oops.
That is exactly what's going to happen.
See, would this be considered a saving throw for strength?
Nope, just a strength check.
Just a strength check?
Yep.
Athletics.
Okay. Well, I got a 15 and a 17, so that's a 20.
Nope, not quite enough. You're holding on pretty good, but Abacus manages to wiggle her way just right and boop,
Okay.
pops out of your
Straight to
arms.
the ground.
That is exactly what is going to happen. I'm hitting the ground running.
Where are you running?
I want to finish up those notes. It was important to me.
So he's running. He's running towards the building. You're running back into the building.
I am going to yell back at him as I enter back into the temple. This'll only take a minute.
I'm gonna get out my net.
This is what happens when you leave Bakar by himself.
I did. He's only following
At this
orders.
point,
I keep
I'm
telling
going
him
to
bring
tell
back Abacus.
tell George to play with the net.
Mm.
Is that a good idea?
Probably not.
Is that a good idea?
Okay, so I'm going back to my books. Are you following me?
George looks at you, looks at the Minotaur, looks at you.
He's pulling out a toy for you, George.
You could almost hear him say, "I don't think so." Turns around and walks.
What is George's intelligence?
They're
Probably
pretty
higher
good. They're
than
like,
mine.
it's
Yes,
like a
but
7
you
or an
gotta
8.
admit that net does look like a cat toy in some
No,
ways.
it doesn't. On what
No, they don't.
planet do nets look like cat toys?
On a lot of them, believe it or not.
On top of that, how would George know what a cat toy looks like?
Well,
It's
I've
not a
been
cat.
using a lot of them.
I've been using
I
them.
haven't seen you use a single one the whole time we've been traveling together.
So am I able to quick finish up, or
Well,
am
yeah,
I
at this
gonna
point you'd
try
be
to
able
get
to,
captured again?
huh?
Am I gonna at least
Get
have an attempt
absconded
at
again.
capturing me?
Well, go ahead and roll to see if you can catch him in the net. It's a dex.
No. Hold on. If I see him coming at me, I'm gonna pull something out.
I'm faster than you.
The Minotaur already did that.
He's coming at me. Okay. I am casting Spider Climb on myself. I am taking the books and I'm running up the wall.
How high is the ceiling?
How high is the ceiling?
It's a slightly taller than average, so about, let's see, it'd be a 15-foot roof.
All I can
A
tell you
ceiling,
is it
so-
isn't high enough.
It's about a 20-foot ceiling, or
Oh,
20-foot
if he
roof.
climbs off.
Yeah, I'm running up to the top, and I'm gonna take the rest of my notes with my back to the ceiling.
Isn't that a concentration spell?
I believe it is.
I think so.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right. So he sees you pull out the net. He immediately says something in a magic speak
You know,
and starts
Bassar,
running up the side
this
of the
would
wall.
go a lot smoother if you let him get the notes that we need, and then we can go deal with your stuff wherever else.
There is food waiting for me. This is bullshit.
And the food will
It'll
still
only be
there
a minute. Look,
just as cold, given that you ran over here.
I am almost done. I promise.
I
You've
really
got like
wish I
you're
had
on like
that
the
10
last
foot pole.
paragraph. You just got like 5 more minutes, and it's just
Well, not even. I'm just getting a few more lines down.
yeah.
You are
Uh,
so lucky I don't have a 5-foot pole. Or I would have you with
You
it.
used to have a 25-foot.
True to my word, after a minute, I'm gonna kind of pack everything up. All right, I can walk. There is no need for me to be
Not
picked
an
up.
option.
Well, then I'm
We
going
have
to
a cart
stay
to
here
take,
on this wall.
Basar. I know you love carrying your gnomes around.
Bakar, the gnome carrier.
I can always look through these books some more. Yeah,
Hmm.
I
Hang
promise
on,
you, I'll be okay if I walk.
is this the second gnome that has bested you, Basar Bakar?
I'm gonna roll an intimidation now.
It'd be intimidation versus charisma, I think.
Uh,
I
yes.
thought it was a
Yes,
straight.
intimidation is a charisma in this
Uh,
case because you're not really planning on hurting her.
um,
How do you know that?
I think it would be wisdom.
Well, I rolled an 18 and an 11, so
You don't have advantage. It'd be a normal.
I got advantage on intimidation.
Oh, you got advantage on intimidation and strength. All right.
Huh?
Racial feat or racial skill.
Racial feat. Yeah.
What are your
I
racial
don't get
skills? I know you got the gore charge.
scoring rush, advantage on strength, and advantage on intimidation.
Okay,
Oh, on our unarmored defense. No.
that's
Yeah,
a
unarmored
barbarian.
defense. Okay, then yeah, those are 3. Oh, sorry, hammering horns is also 1, but that's just a push,
Variation of the gore rush.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead and make a go ahead and make a wisdom check to not be intimidated by the minotaur that wants to lift you up.
My wisdom is really good. Yeah, look at that.
You find him quite intimidating.
Which means you just remember to run away.
Yeah,
Get in the net.
seeing as I find him intimidating, I am going to take all precautions to stay away from the intimidating man.
Which means jumping out the window, I'm guessing, because you can walk onto the roof.
How long does spider climb last?
1 hour.
Concentration.
Okay. Well, he hasn't ended it yet, so technically you still have spider climb going.
So either we stay in this stalemate for an hour, or I am allowed to walk to our destination.
I'm gonna throw the nearest object at him and walk away.
You throwing it at him or just in his direction?
No, at him. Just walk away.
All right, you grab a bush out of the ground, pull it out, and toss it at him, and then say, "Hey, I just planted that." All right, so.
All right, well, as soon as he starts walking off, I am going to start following a fair distance away from him.
I'm going to get the cart and pull it up for you to ride if you would like.
Is there a, like,
There's a
dish?
passenger compartment, so you should be able to continue your work.
Yeah,
Is
you
there
can ride
any
in the
kind
back.
of, like,
Well,
dish near the door to the temple that I could leave, like, an offering in?
yeah, there'll be an offering plate in there that you could.
Okay. As I'm walking out, I'm going to drop 4 gold into there. Just kind of
Alright.
as thanks. And I will now follow Bakar, yes, and to the place where he wants me to go.
All right, so you head back to the inn.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's getting kind of late now. Here we go. If I make it filled, it's much easier to move. Like I said, it's getting late, starting to get early mid evening. A lot of the farmers are clearing up for the day. As you're walking up, a lot of the sailors are leaving the building, heading back and around. The two new guys, Josh and Damien, go ahead and make a wisdom, or not a wisdom, a perception, or intuition, insight. Sorry.
No, insight. Okay. Yeah, I have advantage. I don't have an advantage on that. I have proficiency. Nice.
Ooh, nice. Jakar, you, when you walk in, almost instantly recognize in the back of the inn is someone that you would instantly recognize from your pirating days as a ship captain, sitting next to what would most likely be what you would assume to be the mayor, judging by their
Okay.
dress. They appear to be sitting back there in one of the back room, discussing something. Actually, at this point, the captain would actually be getting up to leave, and the bartender would be bringing the mayor a plate of food. You guys walk in, you see the gnome sitting there in front of right next to a giant plate of seafood.
To which I'm gonna start eating.
What took you so long, Basar Bakar? I expected you back a long time ago.
I'm gonna huff very angrily.
I
I will.
Pick up a chair and stare very angrily at the other gnome.
and do my best to ignore them. Take a seat at their table. All right.
I will
so,
greet the captain and offer to buy him a drink.
There's something that I needed to read. I hear.
Abacus, we found a shitload of books upstairs that we need you to dig through and find anything interesting. Wait, do you speak Elvish?
Well, he tells you that.
I
Sorry, Josh. He tells you that he'd take you up on the offer later, but for now, he needs to go back with his crew and lock down for the night. Get things locked down for the night.
Certainly, I can understand that with all the goings on. You have a great day. If you need any help securing the perimeter, let us know.
Will do. Gives you a friendly nod and walks out. All right, back to you guys. Sorry.
Well, I speak sort of a form of Elvish. Is it strictly Elvish?
The Elvish.
You
Rip.
speak Common Elven, all 3 words of it?
Do you speak like Sylvan or something?
I do speak Sylvan, yes.
Well, it's just the
Speak and
script. We
understand.
should be able to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
you'll be able to read it.
I can take a look at them, yes.
Heck yeah.
Are they upstairs?
Yeah. I'm gonna lead him
Okay.
up to the room.
Yeah,
you actually got the book
order.
on you. Don't forget.
Yeah, I know.
But she
Probably
doesn't want to
shouldn't.
show it off to the innkeeper.
Oh, okay. He's a
Well,
bit distracted trying to keep his eyes above the waist of the Minotaur. Nope,
It is
don't
not
look down.
my fault he's falling in love.
I'm gonna order another plate of food and 2 bottles of dwarven ale.
That'll be, what was it? It was 6 gold, 2 bottles of gold dwarven ale.
It was.
3 golds a bottle.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was 3 gold a bottle.
And if you're going to drink both of those, you're going to have to make a constitution check.
Really?
It's dwarven ale. Even a Minotaur is going to have to make a constitution check.
But I'm 1,400 pounds.
That's 2 bottles of dwarven ale.
I weigh as much as 6 dwarves. I got a 17 plus a 4.
Alright, you're fine. You're able to chug it down pretty good.
For now.
For now. You guys said you're headed upstairs?
Mm-hmm.
Just Damien and Kira?
Yep, I'm leading her up to the room.
I will be following.
I thought you were eating. Oh, sorry. I saw Michael's.
I am getting the bartender a drink.
You're buying him a drink?
I'm getting him a drink
Okay.
because he needs to forget something, obviously. I see the look on his face.
You too, huh?
You've
I've seen things, man. I've seen things.
You have nothing to compare to, my man. But you have a drink anyway.
Yeah, he goes and has a drink with you in the corner. Or at the bar.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
fine.
how much were those plates of food? You never told me.
Not significant
not
compared
significant.
to the dwarven ale.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're in a fishing town. Seafood's pretty cheap here. It'd be considered like a common meal, which I'm not worried about.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys head up to the room. Do you read the book that she gives you, or gonna look through?
Well, are
Who
there
says
several
I'm giving
books?
her a book?
Huh?
Who says I'm giving her the book?
Well,
That's
what do
the
you?
important book. We're going to deal with the other books first.
Okay. Okay, how much have we told Abacus about our quest?
Jack,
Denada.
Jack and Squat, and he doesn't know about Jack.
Okay,
Gee.
so we are in search of someone. Oh wait, no, we did so tell you part of this.
You told
Yeah,
him about you were
we did.
looking for someone, but that was about it.
Well, that's all he needs to know.
And that we're working for the scum of the earth, but that's my
Okay,
take on it.
that is your view of the situation. That is your perspective.
I think it's very accurate.
Well, obviously, it's from your perspective. Anyway, okay, so Abacus, we're trying to figure out where this guy went. I found his journal here.
No, okay.
What does it say?
Oh well, if I have to take some time to read it,
Oh, okay.
especially since Sylvan isn't my first language.
You are you giving him the journal that you found?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Gives
Yeah,
you a journal.
I am gonna read through it.
It doesn't actually appear to be his journal. Do you start from the beginning, or do you start from the page that was open?
I'll be starting from the beginning.
All right, this is gonna take it's gonna take a while. Then it's a fairly sizable journal. It is apparently, as you're reading through it, it is a journal about a. Doesn't appear to be the actual journal, but again, a copy of the journal.
Mm-hmm.
A journal of some Elvin explorer some 10,000 years ago. He lists a number of adventures and various goings on he's gone through. For the most part, it's not too particularly interesting until you eventually reach the part that he was on, where he talks about being about.
As you do.
Talks about his travels over here in these lands. He ended up being part of a caravan that traveled through what is known as the Desert Sand Sea, the Great Sand Sea. This giant desert here is ringed by mountains. This entire mountain here, sorry, I forget you can't see my mouse. It's ringed by mountains. And in here, it's divided into 2 areas, the Great Desert and the Sand Sea. The Sand Sea itself is called that because the sand itself moves and shifts like water. And if you actually stand still, you will start to sink. and nobody know. And if you stand still long enough, you'll eventually be buried.
Terrifying.
The particular journal references traveling somewhere within the center of the Sand Sea and finding an oasis which appeared to be several hundred foot tall, what they originally thought was sandstone walls. But as they investigated and scraped it off, they found underneath the sandstone it was obsidian.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually, aside, there were some other referent talks. They found a cavern which they're able to pass through, which they unfortunately they weren't able to explore as they had to head out. And
I see.
uh, so from there, from there it eventually talks about losing various party members in the desert, being picked up by a group of nomadic insect folks, and from there it goes back on to some other references until eventually they came back to this territory here and came back to this village to settle down.
Okay. I had been I had been periodically taking notes during my reading. At this point in the reading, it is going to greatly intensify.
And the town, that's actually where the journal ends.
Oh, well, I mean during the discovering the desert,
Oh
or
yeah.
just details about the desert.
There are a
I
lot
want
of
all this written
interesting.
down.
There are a lot of interesting references about different places and stuff. But
Hmm.
as that was the area that was open, that was the area you're paying attention to most.
So, what do they call this? The Sand Sea?
It's called the Great Sand Sea.
Yep.
The southern half is called the Great Desert. The top half is known as the Sand Sea.
Okay. And there was a sandstone structure with
Yes.
obsidian underneath it.
Yeah, it appeared to be a sandstone structure. When they carved off some of the sandstone, they found about about 3 or 4 inches under the sandstone, it was solid obsidian,
Okay.
which they're guessing that it was a structure that's been out there for so long that the desert sand actually caked to the sides.
Makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely making note of that. Um, and this was dated back 10. This journal is dated back 10,000 years.
Yes.
Okay. Uh,
Again, this isn't the original journal, so if there were any hidden messages, any hidden writing or notes or something like that, they probably weren't transferred over.
yeah, definitely. Going to acknowledge you may. Uh, do you suspect that the person you're looking for wrote this journal?
Yes? Why?
Am I mistaken about how long elves live? I believe it's a few hundred years.
I think they can live up to 1,000, but that's about it.
Up to 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
A little.
this,
There are some that live older, but 1,000 is considered our version of like 70 to 80.
well, uh, this journal dates back about 10,000 years.
Oh, fuck. So it's not. Well, okay.
I mean,
What,
I gleaned
is it
some
right?
very. Oh, go ahead.
Are there notes in it about, like, the mines under the city? Or what the
Uh,
mines were like?
this city?
Yeah.
Not that I read. No, there was some very interesting information in there, though. Not pertaining to this particular village, but certainly other
Pertaining
things.
to what?
Well, there's an area that some call the Great Desert and the
You would
Sand
actually know
Sea.
about the Great Desert because that's fairly close to where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they found something pretty interesting there. I wish there was more information on it.
It's okay. We'll probably go over there.
I mean, I guess it sounds like a not terribly hospitable place.
No, but we'll end up there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
We heard about it. We're going there.
There's nothing in this journal that tells us where he is around here.
Well, the journal ends at him settling down in this village. So, I mean, if you want me to look
Settling
through these
down in
other,
this village?
yes, this one,
They came to this village.
they did.
Okay,
uh,
where?
Jakar, go ahead and make a persuasion check. You're just doing some general chatting with the bartender. That'll be good enough. Sorry if I'm interrupting you guys, but
Oh, that's okay.
he does. You do get to talking. You do get to talking about the guy a little, and he does mention that he liked to spend a lot of his days when he was reading and researching. He liked to spend it up at the docks.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as he knows, that's where he went the last time, right before he
Anybody
disappeared.
saw him?
Yeah, that's where he heard he was going the last time, right before he disappeared. All right, back to you guys. Or Bakar, are you going to do anything besides eat?
Yeah, I'll go outside and sit down in the sun and start working on the some of my skins.
Make a perception check. Where did you park the wagon?
I didn't.
The wagon is out front of the inn at this point.
All right.
I don't know
20.
that there is anywhere
A
specific.
natural 20 or non-nat?
Natural 20.
All right. Yeah, as you're sitting there, you actually notice that the one of the villagers was peeking into your wagon for a little bit, and immediately, as soon as they looked around, they immediately ran off. All right, sorry. Who was next? Who was?
Well, did they like found this city, or did they just move here?
The city, according to the priestess, is 20,000 or 30,000 years old, where the journal is saying that it was 10,000 years ago.
And this is in Elvish.
Yeah, an elvish village, which actually this village predates the human kingdom by almost 9,000 years. Well, actually, the journal predates the human kingdom by about 9,000 years. Humans have only been in that territory for about the last 1,000.
Okay, so we need to find the descendants of these people then. So we need to talk to the mayor, probably, or whoever keeps the records in the city.
Does the bartender have any suggestions on where we need to secure the wagon?
They do have the barn.
The storage place near the inn.
Yeah, the barn right across the street. Usually where... where's the map? There we go. Yeah, the barn right across the street over here is usually where they store wagons, and they got a pasture out here for the horses.
Okay. How much for storage?
5 silver a night. 5 silver a night.
And that'll keep the locals happy? Okay, got it.
Are you gonna wheel it in, or are you gonna have somebody, or you'll have help?
I'll go take a look and get George to quit annoying the passerbys.
All right. Actually, George is with you.
Ish.
Right.
He might be nervous, I don't know, but...
He seems to be fine. He's been around humanoids long enough. He's been around them his entire life, so...
Mm-hmm.
Well, except for that one time.
For all of his other than 2-day life.
Pretty much. Yep. All right. So you move it into the garage or the barn. You guy, Minotaur is out front, stroking his leather. And what did Damien and Kira? What are you guys doing?
Are there more books?
Oh yeah, there's lots of books.
There's
I'm
a
looking.
shitload of books all over the room.
I'm looking through the books.
All right.
I'm not gonna
It's-
page through each individual one, but I'm gonna see if there's anything interesting in any of them.
He does. Good news is he does seem to have a lot of bookmarks in there, but they're. But it's hard to it's hard to categorize what the which ones are important and which ones are not without knowing his system. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, well,
So
I'm probably just.
it would drastically narrow down the search, but it'll take quite a while.
Yep,
What if I help? Will it take less time? Can we both do it? Or is it all in Elvish?
Just quick glance through the books. You see, there's actually a lot of languages in here. There's Elvish, Dwarvish, Gnomish, Common. There's even a couple in Infernal.
Fuck.
Well,
One you're pretty sure was Abysmal.
I know 3 of those languages, or at least
We
their
know 2 of
scripts.
them.
You'll have to take a long rest to stop biting me to to investigate into these things.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll look into what I can, and if I need to sleep before I tackle them again, I can do that.
All right. All right. Anybody? You guys gonna turn in for the night then? You guys plan on turning in for the night or what?
I suppose so.
When I go park the wagon, is anything missing?
Not from what you can tell.
Is that dumbass vase still in there?
Yep, the vase is still in there.
Just because we have to find a better way to secure it.
You know what? I think we just need to chuck it off the top of a mountain or something.
Let's bury it in a mine shaft.
Just sell it at the local tavern and let it be their problem.
No, that's terrible. Innocent people would die.
So
Let's
we'll
bury it
just
in a
chucking it
mine
off the
shaft.
mountain. What's your point?
What?
If we just leave it around, innocent people will die.
That is correct. We do not want to leave it in the hands of some
That's why I
rando.
would chuck it off a mountain so it would break on the way down.
But it won't
Potentially.
because it's an artifact.
Okay, well that makes it resistant to damage, but not immune to damage.
Now, if we
Drop it
throw it in a
behind
volcano and it swallows the soul of the volcano, that just gives rise to different problems.
That's metagaming.
No, that's magical world issues.
Would your character know that?
That the world has a soul? Absolutely.
But would your character know that?
I am a superstitious fuck if you haven't noticed.
He's a weatherman. He's a weather cleric. He believes nature has weather has a soul.
Volcanoes.
The elements have a
aren't
soul.
weather.
There we go.
Well, I know that the earth has a soul. Nature does.
All right. Aside from turning in for the night, is there anything you guys are gonna plan on doing? One last time.
I'm gonna walk up to Abacus with a measuring tape out.
I'm only going to do some investigation gathering or conversation with the innkeeper to find out details about the mine.
Details about the mine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he'll tell you that it's supposed to be locked up, but there's a small gap in there enough that little kids can get through, and it's sort of a town tradition for the kids to sneak off in there and play in the old sleeping quarters, but none of them ever had the courage to go in any deeper, or at least none of them have ever gone in and come back.
Or at least no one in the current generation?
None that he's aware of. None that he's aware of who are still alive.
Yeah, well, the problem is the ones that only appear alive. But yes.
All right. So you guys settle down for the night. Abacus, go ahead and make an investigation check as you
Okay.
search through the books.
15 again.
Can I like dig through his clothes and shit and see if there's anything of interest in there?
Yeah, you can make an investigation.
I'm gonna keep measuring the gnome.
Well, if I'm investigating the books, then I'm pretty much ignoring them.
As long as he's not trying to take you
Hey,
away
I
from
found
the
the.
books
Hey, I
again.
found his underwear. Oh, okay, that's why he's not wearing them. Oh, phew. Yeah, the clothing that he has left behind is pretty. You get the feeling he's the kind of guy who wears clothes until even he can't stand the smell, and then changes. So,
No, I just keep wearing them. Stop smelling.
It keeps out the thieves.
Nobody's gonna steal your clothes if they can't stand the smell.
Abacus,
Nobody will
as
steal
you
your clothes.
you investigate some more, you find in what you can read, there's I mean, the books really run the gambit. Like I said, there's language, there's dozen, ow, there's like a dozen different languages, all kinds of things. They run the gambit from ancient stories to various maps, uh, sea charts, pretty much ancient stories, history books, things like that. Looks like they've been gathered over. Some of them are in better condition. Others look like they've been roughed up. Um, what you can tell from what you're thumbing through, is that they seem to the things that seem to have in common outside of the random tabs. They do seem to again reference cities in the desert. Seems to come up quite often, as well as references to the God, what was it? What were they called? The Anubians,
Nubians.
which in this world, the first two races to inhabit this world were the first three races were the dragons, the High Vampire, and the Anubians, who all three of the High Vampire and the Anubians went extinct about 900,000 years ago, and virtually nothing is known about them.
So this dude found some Nubian cities.
You're guessing from what he's looking at. It does seem as though he believes that this city might be a reference to an Anubian city, and he seems to be trying to investigate information on it.
I am furiously taking notes again.
All right.
I want all this info.
Ow! Stop biting me! Stop biting me!
You know it doesn't work that way.
Bite it back.
No effect. Cat hair. Damn you! Got a retributive attack. All right, so you guys rent a room for the night. I'm assuming, or are you going to camp outside, or?
I'm gonna rent a room.
Yeah, me too.
Not going to worry about the cost. All right, so the night passes. The next morning comes. Abacus spent most of the night. You're a bit worn out, but you're not. Don't have to worry about any rolls. But you spent most of the night flipping through books, learning that information. You haven't been able to learn anything relevant. Again, you're able to find out that it seems like he's investigating the a desert city and the Nubians, but that's about all the information you're able to ascertain. There do seem to be some other things that he seems to be bookmarking, but they're too random for to be able to figure out what goes with what.
Until the rest of the party gives you more information about what we're actually looking for.
All right. So the next morning, you wake up. You go down to the to the main hall, gathering around to eat. What do you want to do?
Eat.
What do you want to do as you're eating or after you're eating?
Fight.
Find out if anybody's gone missing. And I'm gonna head off to the docks.
All right. What about the rest of you guys?
Miss Arbakar, do you want to come with me?
Course.
Okay, we're gonna go there and just poke around a little bit.
You're gonna poke around.
Yeah.
There where?
Damien, where are you gonna head?
Ah.
Or Abacus, where are you headed?
Yep, sorry about that. I was doing something. What was that?
Drakkar is headed to the docks. He's asking around about
Okay.
missing people. May and
Bakar.
Bakar are gonna go check out the mine. And where do you want to head? Are you gonna tell them about what you've researched?
Are there more books to read, or have I gotten through all of them during the night?
There are still more books, but like most of them aren't in languages you can read.
Yeah, I was gonna say most of them I
So
probably wouldn't even be able to
you're
read.
pretty sure you've found most of the information you'll be able to find now.
And were most of these books on these desert cities, or was most of it just random information?
It was random information. Basically, from
Okay.
what you can tell, he's picking up information from any source he can, piecing it together from ancient legends to fairy tales to ancient maps to travelers' journals. And from what it looks like, he's trying to sort of weave it together to figure out the actual story or figure out something.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm gonna be getting all those notes down. And if I'm about done surveying all the books and I got a decent amount of sleep, then I'd probably be heading to the mines.
You're gonna head to the mines with him.
Yep.
All right. You leaving the cart or are you taking it with you?
The
Me?
cart is
Oh,
put
okay.
up in the barn and paid for.
All right. So
And
you're
I
leaving
probably would have paid for it to stay there about a week.
it. All right.
I would rig up a lockbox on the urn.
All right. Make a sleight of hand. See how well. To see how well of a. Got a 7.
It has more to do with out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
It's not hard to break into. No.
You go in there, you take a blanket, you throw it over the top. Nobody will find it there. As far as you're aware, it's well hidden. All right. See, I'm gonna say there's a bridge across here as well, so you can either head directly to the dockyard, or you can head down and around.
And I'd head directly there.
All right.
I got no reason to go around.
All right. Your car heads straight north
We're going straight to the mines.
to the docks. and the other 3 head straight to the docks. All right. We'll do Dakar first.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Head up to the docks. What are you looking? What are you trying to find?
I'm chatting up the captain, find out how things went,
Find out how that went.
bring him a drink from the tavern since we didn't get a chance.
He's always happy to have a good drink. You chat with him for a bit.
Bullshit about the high seas and bring back to the local happenings.
As he's chatting with him, you find out that they've been in dock for about 2 weeks or so. Their ship was a cargo ship, a fairly sizable cargo ship, about the largest you could get to travel down these streams.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, they ended up getting caught in a lightning storm a while back, and ended up getting getting grounded, and so they had to come back, and they've had to put in for repairs for the last couple weeks. They'll be probably taking off in a day or two, hopefully, if things go well. You ask him about. Sorry, what were you asking him about?
The local
Anything specific?
comings and goings, the local missing people, inquire about the storms of the area, see what I can do about them with praying to my God.
When he talks about the storm, it
Well-
sounds vaguely familiar to something you encountered a little less than a week ago.
No, great. Something was migrating here. That's all the better.
It was actually where they encountered the storm would have been fairly close to probably would have been the edge of the storms that you were encountering.
So I'll mention that that's taken care of.
He'll thank you gratefully. Yeah, you'll talk some more. He'll mention that they were planning on doing some hunting to restore their stocks, but over here in this area, up to the northeast, was a hunting area. However, he sent some of his men out there a short while back. The villagers had said that the hunting, normally that's some good deer hunting this time of year. However, the area has been fairly scarce. He sent some of his men to go hunting there when he first arrived, and he hasn't heard back from any of them since. They sent a scouting party, but they weren't able to find anything.
That's not a good sign.
Mm-mm.
Well, we'll go see what's up there when my crew gets back together.
He does again. Yeah, you mentioned about the assuming you'll talk about the roads. He does mention how business has been pretty good since the number of people have been avoiding the roads. Again, the mayor has been pretty adamant about insisting nothing is wrong with the roads, but again, he wouldn't say that it's been a huge number of people gone missing, but it's just enough that it's noticeable.
And it's well-known people. It's not like random stranger jackasses.
The opposite. It's mostly just traders. In fact,
well, then nobody would notice if they're missing or not, except their trade companies.
Well, it's a lot of their resources come from that road as well. So when caravans don't show up, and then they don't hear anything about it.
There's been a lot of issues with the border disruption of late.
Yeah, it's true. Could be, especially with the war going on. Could just be bandits.
And it doesn't help with the disappearance of the peacekeeping contingent to the south of you.
Haven't heard about that. Is there anything else? He does inquire about your leather outfit, as it's something he's never seen before. Your leather armor.
It's from the high seas, and I tell a whole huge tale. about how I acquired it in my youth and have kept it up to date since.
He enjoys a good tall tale, whether
Yeah.
true or fiction.
Well, I mean, it's sharp when you try and rub it one way, and it's smooth in the other. It works. But at any rate, it's been good chatting with you. I must go track down my compatriots to see what trouble they're getting into now.
All right. All right, the rest of you. You guys head down here. The three of you head down to the mine. Like I said, it's been pretty much cleared out. You still have the hole. There's a sizable hole. Any actual signs that there was any mining has been long since removed. Only thing that remains is a bit of a scar on the land where a large gaping hole leads into the ground, which has been covered up by several layers of boards. It's not one of those like a cavern type. It's like they dug sideways into the ground kind of hole. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a strip mine, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what the appearance looks like. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Looks like a tunnel.
Yeah, a tunnel. There we go. Yeah, a tunnel. It's not like the side of a mountain, like they dug into the side of the ground. There we go. What do you want to look for?
Anything interesting? Does anything stand out?
You can do investigations.
Stands out are all the skeletons.
That
Spooky,
stand up and
scary
start
skeleton.
advancing on you.
Yeah, exactly.
You said an investigation, correct?
Yep.
We're entering a Skyrim cave.
I got a 13.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm going so shitty today,
Good thing you're not in combat.
right? Fuck.
That's a yikes.
Damien, what'd you get?
On investigation? Well, let's find out. I got a that.
Got a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Bakar, what'd you get?
13.
13.
We're all doing a crack up job today.
Mm-hmm,
Well, none of you guys are very familiar with mines, but like I said,
And that's when they fall through the floor.
you're looking around. You don't really see much. You are with what you heard about the bartender. What Jakar told you about the kids or whatever. You are able to sort of find little old footprints in the sand or in the ground. You can find little cracks that would just be. You guys, the two gnomes would be able to slip through, or little kids, probably no older than about 12 or 13, might be able to slip through. It's kind of a difficult path, but you could probably get in there if you needed to.
Are there a lot of people out and about?
It's morning, so most of the people, there is hustle bustle. There are people traveling up and down the roads. Most of the people, again, are either on the farms or have left on their fishing boats for the day. I'm gonna say down here is probably another fishing pier.
Are there any people immediately about?
And are they paying attention to us?
Make perception.
Oh boy.
16.
I got a 16 too.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Damien?
Another investigation or
Perception.
perception.
You guys are they were looking to see if.
Hey, that's better.
All right.
That was 16 too.
You do notice throughout the day there seems to be some. They seem to keep trying to be discreet, but you see basically the same people passing by, seeing 2 or 3 people passing by, keeping an eye on you repeatedly throughout the day, and they do seem to be trying to look like they're just going about their daily business, but the way they're walking and the way they're walking and looking at you, you get the sense that they're keeping an eye on you.
Hmm.
Do they look familiar at all, or do we not do they just look like people?
They appear to just to be regular Elvin villagers.
Is it possible for me to say roll insight to see if it's because we were poking around in the mine?
It'll be hard to tell. They do. You are. It is kind of suspicious that you're up at the mine. That's not exactly something that, from what you hear, many people would in this town go and visit.
I suppose, yeah. Makes sense.
So it would really be hard to tell if they were doing that because of the mine or for any other reason.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I am going to have to run to the bathroom again real quick. I will be right back.
Okie dokie.
Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves.
Was that
What time is it?
for me?
No, in the game.
Oh, I don't know.
Mid-morning.
Okay, we need to go talk to the mayor or whoever keeps the records and try to figure out where the people who came here 10,000 years ago settled.
And where on top of everything they ended up?
Yeah.
How about we ask him if he has any information on what's his face?
I mean, yeah, that's a good option too.
Jakar, was there anything else you were going to do at the dock before you left?
I'm going and looking for them, and I'm guessing they were headed to the mine, so that's where I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to go, where the hell are they?
Yep. You head up to the mine, and you see them just wandering around, looking around, trying to find
We're
stuff.
gonna go to the mayor. We're gonna go talk to the mayor. Well, I'm gonna go
Okey-dokey.
talk to the mayor, and Bazaar's coming with me.
We really should go looking for the lost hunter.
What lost hunter?
Apparently there was a hunter yesterday that they sent out when the ship came in.
Wasn't yesterday? It was a couple weeks ago.
Not long
almost.
ago.
Yeah.
Sounds
Not
like a
long
bloodborne
ago.
bust.
Less than 2 weeks. He didn't say the exact time. He just said after they
It
arrived.
still is,
It's been a while already.
if we're looking for missing people, that's as close as we get as an area to look. The problem is they're being spooked by groups, because the groups are coming back fine. So I'm guessing we're mostly looking for anybody traveling alone getting attacked.
Bakar, how do you want to serve? How do you want to? What do you think about bait?
We already know the answer. He volunteers Drakkar every time.
Here's the plan. We have Bakar grab and throw Abacus as far as he can, and if there's somebody out there, they'll see this lone gnome on the ground and think he's an easy prey. She's easy prey.
Am I being used as bait?
No, you're not being used as bait. God.
No, you're not being used as bait.
Quit denying
Wink.
reality over there. Of course you are. You should be comfortable with this by now.
Not quite.
Nope.
I'm bite-sized. I'm not comfortable being bait.
Well, then I'll just have to do it.
I don't understand why you were drawing connections between our dude going missing and the other people going missing.
What dude going missing?
The guy that we're looking for.
Why wouldn't I? People are going missing.
Well, yeah, but I'm assuming that most of these people aren't searching for this fucking portal.
Mayhaps not, but people are going missing.
You know what I bet it's gonna be? I bet it's gonna be they're all finding this portal on accident and falling into it, and now we're gonna have to go to the desert.
Well,
We're gonna
duh.
die.
Is this a problem? I thought this was the plan. I don't get what the problem is.
The problem is we need to level up first. Jesus.
Quit metagaming.
Yeah, but the more you level, the harder I have to make the encounters.
Okay, that's true.
But
But to be fair, it is much easier to. No, I'm. It's much more fun when you have high level characters and high level
it's
baddies.
much more challenging for the DM too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw
Alright.
this monster at you. Oh, I have this spell that gets me around it. Damn it! Or I'm gonna throw this trap at you.
Yeah, then you have to throw a bunch of other shit at us.
I have
Our
this
adventure.
I have this tower you guys need to climb. I use fly. There is anti-fly repellent. No, I climb up.
Spider climb.
In that case, I spider climb. It's covered in grease. You can't climb it.
That's not how it works.
Then I use my dust of drying to dry the grease. It's like.
Damn
Until
it,
the
now
spell
what?
ends, one willing creature you touch gains the ability to move up, down, and across vertical surfaces and upside down along ceilings. It's not actual climbing, it's a spell that allows me to stick onto surfaces.
But I'm pretty sure the grease spell specifically will counter it.
Well, I'm sure a spell would, yes. I thought you were referring
Potentially.
to actual grease.
I'm back.
All right.
Keeping grease dry that long, that's a challenge.
All right. So you guys are
Set it on
going.
fire.
You guys are going to head to the mayor's.
That
Yeah.
is one of my
Yes.
general solutions, yes.
That's my go-to.
All right.
Fucking start fires.
So May is
Yep.
saying to go towards the to the mayor. What is everybody else saying?
Go to the mayor's.
I'm saying, okay, we can go visit the mayor, but we really should go look for the hunter.
We can do that after we talk to the mayor.
Okay.
I will
You
be
know what?
following
I'm
them.
gonna go after the hunter right now. You go after the hunter. We'll catch up.
Actually,
Yeah, right.
that
You
reminds
did
me.
say going after lone people. You.
I know.
reminds me
We'll
of-
be right behind you. Way behind you.
In the other county, yeah.
I will follow any general into battle. Good news is, when was the last time you saw a general on the front lines?
That doesn't really script anymore. Mattis was right now Abu Gabe, so 2016.
All right, so you guys pack it up, head back to the head back. You learn that this is the mayor's house back here. Walk up. I'm assuming you're gonna knock or knock. The mayor's secretary comes out, or a woman that you are assuming is a secretary. Can I help you?
Hello, ma'am. We were wondering if we would be able to speak with someone who knows about the records and people who have lived here.
Records? What do you need to inquire about the records for?
Well,
No, you mean all those ones that are in the temple?
I'm looking for some genealogy information regarding a group of elves who came here from far, far in the east, or in the west, about 10,000 years ago.
I'm not sure if I know anything about that myself, but we do have we don't have the greatest of record keeping, especially considering how long this village has been around. Many of the books have worn out over the time, but we've done our best to record it.
Is there anyone who would know about the types of people that lived here 10,000 years ago?
Our ancestors.
I mean, like, alive people that I can talk to?
Unless you're looking for a dragon, I don't think there's anybody around that lives that long. And as far
No,
as
I'm
I'm,
not talking about people who have lived that long. I'm talking about people who have knowledge of that era. Do you have any historians, anything
There's
like
a
that?
priestess at the temple that might be willing to talk to her ancestors for a proper donation.
you know what?
If she doesn't get mad about her friend looking through the records being abducted.
Almost abducted.
No, she says she'll go. She'll actually get the mayor. She'd let you come inside. To see records like that, you'd have to speak directly to the mayor. The temple would likely have a lot of the birth records, but the town itself would likely have a lot of the population records. So if they weren't born here, they would be more likely to be found in the mayor's records. So she takes you inside, heads in. A few
Size
minutes.
of this town, the amount of separation of church and state is astounding.
Right?
It's not that they're separate. It's not that they're separate. It's just certain things keep records in certain areas. Other things are kept in other areas for convenience.
You're trying to make excuses about separate but equal, but I get it.
If the town hall burns down, you'll at least still have some of the records in the temple. If the temple burns down, you'll have some of the records in the town hall. If both burn down, well,
Then what was the point of having the town here in the first place?
Anyway, yep. So the mayor comes in and says, "So you're looking for the record? You're looking for historical records? Anything you're looking in particular? Anybody
Yeah,
you're looking for in particular?"
Yeah, well, there's two things. One is that I'm looking
The mayor is he's an older elf. His hair, he's still, for an elf, they maintain their youth for a long time, but you can see there are some streaks of gray coming in there.
There is actually two things that I was hoping you could help me with. I'm looking for information regarding Gelaf Broods.
Get off Broods. Is he that weird human that's always mumbling to himself and's got those giant pile of books?
Yes, that would be him.
Oh yeah, I remember him. He came in here and purchased sought to purchase one of my ancestors' journals some time ago. Normally I wouldn't part with it, but thing's just sitting here collecting dust, and I'm not sure where he got the money, but he definitely was willing to pay for it.
Well, there's that answer.
Oh, so that's what you're looking for?
Well, we're looking for him. We can't find him, and we were wondering if you had any information on where he might be.
I thought he left a week ago. I haven't seen him.
Where do you know where he went?
Mm-mm. Usually he spend his time either in the inn reading or at the end of the docks
What was
studying.
he doing at the bar?
He said he liked the fresh air there. Carry a big old pile of books with him, basket of apples, and just sit out there all day reading and writing marks on his notebooks.
Hold on. So we're looking for a person. The mayor knows about this person and knows that he left
these docks
about
up here.
a week ago.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say knows that he left, but has not seen him in a week.
So he
Okay.
assumed he left a week ago.
Okay. Did he mention any particular places to you or anyone else that you would know of?
I don't know. He tended to
Just
talk a
offhand.
lot. I tried speaking to him a couple times. Curiosity and all. He did buy one of my old journals or ancestors journals. One of my library lot. Books are fairly rare, so somebody acquires them. But I don't know. He was going on. He talked about one subject. He'd immediately switch to another and switch to another. It's really hard to understand what he was talking about.
Okay. Anything about a desert, perhaps? potentially?
Yeah, something about deserts, talking about portals, deserts, portals, the soup recipes. You know, some woman who wears black. I don't know.
Okay, well, I wouldn't have any knowledge of 3/4 of those things. But, okay.
Like I said, he seems like a real scattermind. He like he's trying to study 6 things at once, and somehow somehow makes sense to him.
Man, imagine that.
The other thing I was hoping you could help us with is there were a few individuals that we were hoping to find. And then I give them a basic general description of the people that were following us around.
The cultists.
No,
No, the nosy people.
yeah, the people who were like when we were scoping out the mine.
The people nosy around town is what they're referring to.
Oh, this is a small town. They always get kind of weary of travelers who stick around too long, or
Stick their noses in where they don't belong.
yeah, I suppose depending. Why were you sticking your noses someplace where they don't belong? My bartender made a complaint about certain objects getting stuck where they don't belong. He looks over at Bakar.
Well, I'm sure I don't
sorry.
know what you're talking about, but
Yes.
we have certainly not done anything untoward.
Where did I stick it?
You didn't know that?
In his eye, that's the problem.
Then he was too close. Social distancing.
Zone of attack.
What did you guys do in the tavern while I was in the temple? If you don't mind me asking.
You don't really want to know. Trust us.
Hmm.
By
I
the
might
way,
just lift up my thing again.
oh god, what did you do? He shows you. Ah! Roll an intimidation. uh,
Oh boy.
We are never getting invited back here.
No.
By the way, Mayor looks at you. High Priestess mentioned something to me last night. Last night said you guys had a run-in with some kind of demonic cult. What was that about?
I don't know anything about a demonic cult.
Said something about a demon and cultist attacking your tire or attacking you.
Oh, well, we don't know for sure that was a demon. It was just some weird monster thing.
I describe it to him.
You, you describe it? Interesting. Haven't seen anything like that around here. I'm rolling a persuasion.
Now, I'd like you to keep in mind, Mr. Mayor, I only joined with these individuals a few days ago.
I'm pretty
I'm
sure
not.
you got like 125 platinum that says otherwise.
Well, you know what they say. You're judged by the company you keep.
And
the pay they pay you.
The point is, I'm not closely associated with these individuals or actions that they have taken in the past.
I see. Well, was there anything else you guys wanted to know?
Nope.
All right.
Do you have any maps of the mines?
What's the capital of
What is your
Botswana?
obsession with the mine?
He wants to fight Drug. I don't know.
Draugr?
Yeah.
Oh, unfortunately, those maps, I'm afraid, rotted away long ago.
Well, that's not helpful.
Well, we haven't had any need to. We haven't had any need to create new ones since no one's been down there. We try to keep our our books repaired and up and rewritten every few generations, but occasionally the lesser used ones get forgotten.
I would have thought they might have gotten stolen by the kids long ago, but okay.
He sort of laughs. Oh yeah, I remember those days. By the way, what do you need the mind maps for?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. What do we need the mind maps for, Drakkar?
Are you thinking your friend might be
Because the
down there?
mine might be older than the town?
Yeah, and how does that help us?
Well, the mine is as old as the town. Originally, it was set up. There was an old mithril vein down there we found.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
At
Why is
any
it all
rate,
boarded up?
Unfortunately,
said-
it didn't last very long, so we quickly abandoned it.
the other thing we should do is go looking for that missing hunter, because he's supposed to be back in town.
Missing
Okay, fine. We can look
hunter.
for that goddamn hunter.
Oh, are you talking about those sailors that went missing little over a week ago?
Yeah. That their
Yes.
search party couldn't find anything.
Yeah. We sent some men out. We sent some of our hunters out to find them, but couldn't find anything. Other than
No.
actually, couldn't really find much. They did say that they found some strange markings on the ground, but other than that,
Did they say where?
to the northeast. He gives you a general direction. Northeast, up. So it'd be the upper right. Said there's some clearings. Some clearings where deer used to tended to congregate a lot. That they
Life
would.
was so much easier when we had familiars with us.
But
I mean, I have Core, but he doesn't really do what I tell him to do, so
ah!
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, there's
As I
always
said.
George.
Yeah, send George.
But George is not a familiar. George is my friend.
Oh,
As I slip George a treat to get him to yip it up at it.
Ah.
Onward.
Onward and upwards. So if you'd like to go out and see if you can't find
If
out what's
nothing
going
else,
on,
we
we'd be
can
more
get
than
some
happy.
venison to feed the Minotaur.
Hmm?
If nothing else, we can get some venison to feed the Minotaur.
Oh, that's the other thing. Like I was saying, lately we're not sure why, but the deers have been avoiding that area. We've been having to go further out east to hunt.
Yep, we definitely needed to go to the northeast and find these markings and stuff.
No, we don't. We're looking for somebody else currently. The hunter can wait.
Hunters. There were two.
Okay. We need to concentrate
Why, you're waiting
on
for the
one
next people
quest
to go
at a
missing?
time. The fuck do I care?
What?
So, the only neutral good character, do you care?
Allow me in my higher state of morality to contemplate this. So
I'm at the moment meandering back to my wagon.
we either search for some hunters that have gone missing in, was it the woods?
Yep. The woods
I
to the
don't know.
northeast. The woods to the northeast have had some hunters going missing. There's the unexplored mines here in the middle of town, and then towards the south is where the roads where you hear that reportedly unusually or higher than average number of traders have gone missing.
Okay. And then we are also going after a guy. Do we know if he is in any kind of danger, or is there any kind of time crunch that we're on?
Yeah, we got a pretty good time crunch.
Yeah.
What is this?
They were
time
given this
crunch?
mission a little over a week ago.
And we have
We're contractually obligated to do
Continue
this.
to make progress.
So
Yeah.
we have to track down this elusive person within a certain period of time. Okay.
Missing person.
Yeah. Well,
Missing
is
person
missing,
cases are never related to each other.
And missing hunter cases are so important.
I mean, it could be important, but only if they're connected, and we don't know if they're connected.
So he was last seen in this village.
Yes, a week ago.
He
And
was
left
last seen a little over a week ago. You know he likes to spend time up here near the docks.
Which is the northeast, by the way.
I see that, yes. It'd be...
That they're making
Either the
reference
docks
to
or at the
markings on
end.
the ground.
He also spent a lot of time in the temple.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Sorry, I can't remember if I referenced that or not. Basically anywhere there are books. So the inn where he had his books. Sometimes he'd be at the mayor's house, but fairly rarely. At the temple, sometimes. Again, occasionally, rarely. And when he wanted to get air, he'd be up at the at the dockyards at the end of the docks, reading and studying, or eating apples and studying.
I think it's possible.
Or we need a
that
thief
he
to
could have
sneak into
gone
the boat,
missing in
find
there.
out the cargo sailors are actually slavers and are slowly abducting people from town.
Josh, will you let him finish speaking?
Fine. Yeah, it's that he could have gone missing into the woods, potentially. Was he much of a traveler?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was. Okay, so that reduces the chance that he was in the woods. It's also possible that he went out on the road and disappeared there.
And he did leave all his books and stuff behind. Like I said, his traveling pack was
Yeah,
gone,
yeah.
but all of his books were still there. And the stuff that you would expect, and most of the stuff you would expect to be in a pack, were still in his quarters.
Okay, but his traveling pack was gone?
Yeah.
But not anything he would
Pack was
take
gone,
on
but
a
not
journey.
Yeah.
No, like his clothes weren't gone or anything. So what I would guess is that he
Interesting.
packed up some of his books that he likes to read, and maybe went down to the docks to do whatever he did in the fresh air down there and take notes, and then didn't come back.
Yeah, that's my assumption as well.
So his pack was gone, but all of his clothes and stuff were still there.
So maybe we should ask around the docks.
Yeah.
We could do that, and what we could do is we could follow this trail of the missing hunters, and if it doesn't look like it's leading us to him, then we can always just abandon it and see if we can find clues elsewhere. It's kind of a risk to take the time to do that, but
it's no more than the risk of dragging a 25-foot a rod of arcane iron back to town to sell.
Yeah, whose idea was that?
Yeah, whose idea
Am I
was
the
that?
one under contract?
No, you're just the one that keeps coming up with dumbass ideas.
Welcome to
derailing
D&D.
the hell out of us.
I'm not under contract.
Well, technically,
I don't know.
neither is your car, so.
Okay.
Split
Yeah,
the party?
Well, there was... I actually wrote a list of things that Abacus was going to lay out. I think that there is a good chance that he could have disappeared into the woods in the northeast where other people have been vanishing.
Especially
Which way is
when...
northeast on the map?
Does that work? No, it doesn't. Okay.
Tyler?
What?
Which way is northeast on the map?
Up would be north, down
Right
south,
would be
east, right.
yeah.
So up by the dockyard is where the northeast is?
Yep.
So why don't we go that way and stop at the docks on the way up then?
Yeah, we can.
This is the northeast.
We can ask around at the docks, see if anybody saw what happened to him.
Okay, let's do it.
I can
Let's
get
do it.
behind that.
All right, you headed up to the docks then.
Yes.
Yep.
As you're leaving the building, you actually hear some shouting coming from this direction. As you look down there, you see a large, familiar-looking warg walking down the streets towards you.
Okay, well.
Manbreaker!
And you wonder why I tried to warn the villagers not to try and get in his way.
Well, they seem to be avoiding him. He just sort of
I'm
walks up.
surprised they didn't try and contact us like I suggested.
Okay,
yeah.
well, at least
Well, when you see a large warg come running into your town, your first reaction probably isn't to go and your first reaction is probably to run.
See, now we have a real tool because we have clothes and we have a wolf that can track.
Hey,
oh, hey,
why can't
okay.
I just
And-
wild shape?
That's a good question.
Why can't I just wild shape into a fucking wolf and track him?
How
come
about
in-
how about
You
this?
could have thought of that.
Yeah, well, so could you have.
How about
Because
this?
I
How
don't
about-
shape change.
We could do that. I can't either.
And I know
Send
better
some-
than to try and send George on a fetch quest like that.
Send some people back to get the clothes. Make and
Well,
talk
we're
to...
heading over there anyway because we want to
Yeah.
stop in
Okay,
and do everything.
hey, yeah, okay, cool, yeah, awesome, neat. Make and talk to Manbreaker with her speak with animals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thought he was your
And
wolf.
I can only
You know
speak
what?
I
with
can't
small
talk
beasts.
warg.
Uh-oh.
Nope. Did Kira just
Oh.
freeze? Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're good.
So yeah. So she can speak to Manbreaker, see if that's something he can do. Bring the clothes with. Investigate the docks.
Make sure he didn't murder anyone.
Eh,
Yeah, we should probably check on.
eh,
I suppose there's nothing that can be done if he did, but, you know.
yeah, a little
I
late.
mean, it's better to have the knowledge than to not have the knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, and then we can go check out the docks, and we can go on from there.
Okay, I cast Speak with Animals.
All right.
Manbreaker! The fuck happened, dude?
I got distracted.
Did you smell something good? Was it good?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What'd you smell?
Smell something again.
Oh boy.
Hmm.
Was it a girl ward?
He can he just kind of looks up at you and smiles. Family.
Aww.
Okay.
Okay.
That's not good.
So there's a whole pack of them around here somewhere. Great.
Anyway, Manbreaker, can you track? No, let me rephrase.
If I feel like it.
Or you track for me. Or for him. And I gesture up at the Sarbacar.
I could. Emphasis on could.
Well, what would it take to convince you that you should?
Something a lot stronger than you.
The Sarbacar?
That might work.
Might that work? This is why I keep a big ass minotaur around.
He does kind of back off as soon as you say that.
Okay, so if we go get you some clothes with scent on them, will you find us this guy?
I can try. Yes. You have anything to eat? It's been a while.
The Sarbacar, give him some food. A lot of
It's
it.
been
I found some nice children around here. Mind if I go help myself?
I mean, a little bit, yeah.
wasn't he with us the day before yesterday? Or yesterday?
He's been gone for a little over 24 hours.
Can we not
Yeah.
encourage the warg to eat children?
I pull out some of my jerky and I give him a ration.
All right. He eats it up quickly.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Get these clothes.
Let's Let's hunt.
I'm
Why
gonna.
don't, why don't
Wait.
you show me if you can actually scent and track things as good as you claim to?
What would you like me to do? What would you like me to find?
The
How,
dude whose clothes we're gonna go get.
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
how big is this warg?
He's
Um,
he's
Big.
it's
bigger than
big.
you.
It's big enough that an orc could ride it into battle.
Yeah.
So what kind of animal handling check would I need to make to ride it?
I mean, that's
One thing about wargs,
check.
they
That would
will.
be will it let you?
Yeah, wargs are.
Intelligence.
They're an intelligent species. They respect strength more than anything else. So you can technically ride them, but you can technically ride them, but they will only let you ride them if they respect you as their superior.
Mm,
So he might let.
okay.
So he might.
You might let Basar Bakar ride him if he wouldn't die.
Yeah. You are Jakar.
Basar
Huh?
Bakar.
Bakar.
I'm gonna wrestle a warg.
I do
Wouldn't
not.
recommend
I
it.
mean, if you were to beat him in combat, he might respect you enough.
I'm just waiting for the day George gets amused and wants to ride him.
All right, so you guys head back to the inn. You get
I'm
his.
gonna wrestle the warg.
You get
He's gonna
you.
wrestle the warg.
You're gonna wrestle the warg.
I'm gonna wrestle the warg.
You're
All right.
gonna lose.
What do you? All right. What do you do?
I'm not actually gonna wrestle the warg.
I'm gonna wrestle the warg. You're gonna lose. I'm not actually gonna wrestle the warg.
No, I knew I was gonna lose. Just I want to ride it.
All right. You guys head back to town. You find some of his clothes. I believe they get advantage. It's been a long time though. Oof. Let me look at the warg stats real quick.
Which one do you need?
Um
I got him.
I'm guessing that is a 16 or a 17.
it's a
Total?
It'd be a What is a tracking? Is that nature, perception?
I think it'd be survival.
Oh. Hey, he's got advantage on
Right, he rolled
perception
2
check,
dice.
Yeah.
and it's a +4.
Plus
I might
4.
be able to wrestle the warg.
No, you wouldn't be able to wrestle the warg.
So it's a 14. You see him sniffing
Plus-
around here. He's
It's still too close
he's
to
able to-
civilization.
yeah. It's
Right.
still at the moment it's too close to civilization. He's been gone for too long. He's got a pretty good scent from the clothing, but any leftover scent is too weak at the moment.
You want me to wild shape and try?
We could get
Uh,
further afield and walk around the town, starting with the northeast.
Mm.
How long does speak with animals last?
An
Like-
hour?
An hour? Okay.
A while.
I think. It might be 10 minutes. Let me check.
I do have magic. I can enhance ability and give myself some strength.
I can also inspire or guidance the
Yeah,
ward.
I
Okay.
To
can
add a
also
D4.
throw a gnome.
You want
Yeah,
me to
you've done that
lose
before.
so that I may not ride
It's
the
10
warg
minutes.
into battle. I mean that. If the
My
war,
warg.
I mean, it's likely that the warg's speed is higher than mine. That'd give me some good mobility.
His speed is a
It
50.
would. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I
orcs
think he
ride
has
them.
double your speed, doesn't he?
I think they got I
Huh?
think they do got a 50.
They have a 50 for their base speed.
Yeah, then it's double your speed.
Yeah,
Your sprint is
be
his
nice.
is his walking.
yeah, exactly. I might have to.
Look into that.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrestle the warg.
Oh boy.
Not now, but someday.
Someday I'm gonna
Good
wrestle
luck.
the warg. All right. So where'd you guys say
They eat
you're
a
gonna
lot.
go?
We should head to the northeast and start the tracking again.
All right.
And
Think
we
if I know-
should probably call it a night.
You want to call it a night for the night then?
Well, I'm just saying it's 10 o'clock. I don't
I'm
know how
fine.
much later you really want to
Just-
go with the hijinks.
Hijinks.
I'm fine. I'm in mountain time.
How would wrestling work in D&D mechanics?
Not well.
They used to have some D&D mechanics back in second edition, but they dropped them after that.
That's because they
That's a
didn't
shame.
accurately reflect a lot of things.
Basically, you just try to make grapples against each other.
Basically, it'd be unarmed combat versus each other.
Grapple is not near as effective in 5th edition deliberately because in some editions that people broke the hell out of it.
Mhm.
Makes sense. So it would just be unarmed combat.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have some things that would help me out, but
If
I
you're
also
gonna
have
wrestle.
I have a -1 to strength.
And he's got a +3.
Yeah, and he has like claws and teeth and stuff.
Yes.
But if you beat him, I mean, that
But
would
you
get
do
us.
have guidance. We can make sure that you have some advantage.
And don't forget, next fight you get into, you get blessed.
And his
For
bite does
10
do
turns.
2d6.
I'm gonna wrestle the warg.
Oh, and
I'm gonna
wargs.
do it.
Wargs tend to kill those that they fight, even in the,
Oh,
especially in the battles for dominance.
hey. So you guys got my back, right?
No comment.
No.
I mean, I won't let you die, but I'm not gonna help you.
So, does
Not a good idea.
using a fireball count as unarmed combat?
No.
I think the wolf will definitely see that as cheating.
And eat you.
You sure? Yeah.
I don't think he'd let me get away with lightning breath, even though that's one of my innate abilities.
Well, you just have to prove you're the superior. How you do it doesn't matter.
Oh, is that so?
In many cases.
In many cases, unless he decide. But then again, every wargs are like people. They may decide that
In a moment of weakness, they may very well forget all those rules to apply the same lack of courtesy you did.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of orcs that ride wargs, tend to get killed by their own warg when they show a sign of weakness.
So I'm gonna go back to I'm going to wrestle the warg someday,
And
and I think that's how it'll remain for the time being.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Uh-huh.
Not wrestle the warg.
I'm gonna do it.
You might want to start out.
When you
practicing
find
with,
that
like,
belt of giant strength, then I
somebody
would be wondering about it.
Yeah, I mean, good.
Nope.
Nah, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
No, not now, but someday it's gonna
After
happen.
3 levels of monk, you're gonna do it.
I'm thinking like next level.
Oh my god, I have a character that
get
totally
new
would
spells
do
next
that.
level.
What's your AC?
Don't worry about it.
That's what I thought. I mean, not saying, but I am saying that one ward did do 18 damage to me in one attack. Just saying.
Did that one crit or did it?
That wasn't even a crit.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
they're
you get that
vicious.
They get that 2 attack thing.
Oh yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
I'll do it later when I'm
So-
more prepared.
It was like bite and claw, and they rolled, I think, to match my AC.
But mark my words, it'll happen. It'll happen.
Just this little gnome looking at the warg. All right, so you guys want to call it there for the night? Once we start getting into
sounds
the
good.
next areas, they're probably gonna take a while. This town, I enjoyed the town, but it took a bit longer than I was expecting. But
We spent most of the session in here. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
well, that
But-
was the investigation portion.
I got some cool stuff.
So, so again, you've heard about the disappearances of the hunters in the Northeast, the above average missing people in the South, the mine shaft here. You know that he's been investigating.
All of the above.
You know he's been investigating a ancient desert city.
Indeed. Oh, I don't think I informed the group about that. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
You guys had breakfast together. So, any
yeah,
questions
I
before we
spoke
call
at
it a night?
to that. Are there any books in the temple on tips on fighting wargs?
No.
Okay.
It's actually just a scroll that says tips on fighting wargs, and when you unroll it, it says don't.
No, it shows a spear wall.
Shows a what?
A spear wall.
Oh, a spear wall. All right. Any other questions or anything before we call her a night then?
Nah.
Nope.
All right. So let's see. Go 250 experience tonight.
250. Oh my god.
Actually, yeah. Make it 350.
Oh my god. 350.
3903.
Yeah.
3903? Is that how much you got?
That's what I got.
3,903 experience.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, that was fun. Hope you guys got some idea of what's going on.
Some.
And now to ruin it all till next week.
Oh, okay.
Now let's go and for something completely different.
Find out this entire day was just a giant red herring.
Well, counting on those magic diagrams.
Alright.
One of those is going to lead to a wish spell. Mark my words.
Are you sure you want those?
Well,
Yes, I
it's
do
not
want a
my
wish
fault that
spell.
you read up on all the instructions how to activate the magic circle that you don't even know that we're looking for.
Yeah, he doesn't even know about. Oh,
Yeah, have you guys even told him about the magic circle yet?
No.
I don't think we told anybody about the magic circle.
I
I
know
mean,
of
we
no
were
magic
referring to
circle.
portals, aren't we?
Before we leave, just one more thing. You guys can make a quick perception check before I forget,
I don't feel like it.
if you want to.
Nah, I'm gonna.
And you automatically fail. 17.
You can choose to automatically fail. Yes, that's a thing.
Well,
15.
I might as well have.
You got a 5.
You.
My characters never have good perception.
Still looking
I always
at the
have
damn
just terrible
word.
wisdom.
You do see the those 3 people who were watching you before over at this house across the street, staring at you as you move through the town.
Same house again.
You're pretty sure it's the same 3 people.
Which house?
They're over here in front of the house talking, but
Gotcha.
they're acting like they're standing there talking, but they don't seem to be very good at hiding their intentions. So they to keeping an eye on you.
Oh,
And
Honestly, I would be insulted if they weren't keeping an eye on us, but that's a different discussion.
I mean, if we had more time, I'd probably go over there and talk to them.
yeah,
Well, we'll have to remember that for next week, but
Yeah.
indeed.
all right. So, thanks for playing. So, guys, catch you. Hopefully, we can
thank
be
you for
next week.
DMing.
Again, next week is the week I work. I work that day, so we'll probably get started. I work till 6, so we'll get started sometime after 6, so 6:30 or so. Usually when around the time I'll be able to get home and everything, get everything set up. So 6:30, 7 o'clock next week. So.
Okum dokum.
Catch you later. Hope everybody can show up then. Bye bye.
I'll be there. Yep. Ciao.
That's right.